Hello, everyone. Hope you've all had a tremendous White Pill Wednesday. Apologies for the delay. And as you can hear, I'm a little bit under the weather today, but that's all right. We keep it trucking. We keep it trucking regardless. Yes, welcome everyone to yet another episode of the White Pill Podcast. It's good to be back, baby. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Look at me. I'm back on decks. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? And we got a new little addition to the stream. If you pay attention to the bottom right of your screen, you will see the fancy schmancy new 3D printer. I picked up a unit from Creality, this company based in Shenzhen. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. In Shenzhen, China, and they make some damn good 3D printers. This one cost me an arm and a leg, but it was well worth it. It's for anyone curious, looking to get into 3D printing. So ideally, if you have the money to spend, what you should be looking for, ideally, is an enclosed printer. Enclosed because it keeps the temperature consistent, and also, ideally, it would also have an air filter. Because all that melting plastic, unless you're doing that in a warehouse, if you're doing that in your, living room, office, God forbid, bedroom, you're just breathing that in nonstop. So you got to have an air filter at the minimum. Creality is obviously not the only brand. It's just the brand that I chose. There's tons of them out there. Whether you're looking to print with filament or resin printing, which is a little bit more difficult. So I'd recommend starting with filament first. And I am by no means an expert. I am just a hobbyist, but thoroughly enjoy it. And it's great because I have some ideas for the White Pill project that we're going to build via this little guy right here. And the model that I got, for anyone curious, it's the K2 Pro. So if we just skip all the bells and whistles, basically it's the unit in the middle here. You can get the combo as well. It'll come with what's called a CFS. Don't exactly know what it stands for, but it can hold 4 filaments at once, and it's useful for multicolor printing. So there is also an arm on the side that you can install for just single filament printing. But if you want to do multicolor, or if you want to do, if you want to use a print with supports, then this multiple filaments, this will help you a lot. Has a camera as well, which, as you can see, I've managed to hook up to the stream. Might lag a little bit here and there, but it's decent. It's only 720p, not even 1080, unfortunately. I believe so, anyways. It's got a touch screen, which I'm not the fan of, really, because I much prefer physical controls, but beggars can't be choosers. Yeah, it's a fairly easy unit to set up. It comes ready right out of the box, so as soon as you just plug it in and turn it on, it's going to get to work immediately. Oh, 1 second. Okay, there we go. It comes out of the box ready to go. It'll just run some basic calibration tests, level to bed and all that, but it does everything automatically. Because the one thing that I really did not enjoy starting out with just a basic, I believe it was the Ender 3 Neo that I had. Let me nerd out here for a second. All right, guys, let me nerd out. Because I love 3D printing. It was very basic, and this is what most 3D printers would look like. Let me actually enable the cursor. Un momento. There we go. Perfect. This is basically like what most 3D printers look like. Filament on top, the extruder right there, and then it would move up and down. But the bed is stationary. However, for this one, the K2 Pro, the bed actually is what moves up and down, and then the extruder stays the same. Stays still, rather. It's very quick. Extremely quick. Much quicker than any other model that I'm familiar with. It's lightning fast. Right now, as you can see, it's obviously not because it's in between changing filaments, which takes some time. But regardless, extremely quick, efficient printer. It does make a little bit of noise, so ideally what you want to do is get a concrete slab, put it right into the printer so that it helps to stabilize it and helps it from vibrating too much. But in any case, yeah, highly recommend if you're looking to get into 3D printing, pick yourself up one, just because it's going to be a common appliance in future homes. It's going to be as common as having a blender. I believe so, anyways. Just because it allows you to change your environment, allows you to, you know, take a look at something broken in your home or just something that you want to build and bring it to life and actually make it real. Which I've yet to master. I'm still getting into 3D design, but like I said, we got things coming down the pipeline for the White Pill project that I'm looking to build. And on that note, if you want to support the stream, Jesus, where's my head? Um, we got a handy dandy PayPal set up so that if you'd like to donate, you can go to the link that should be in the description of the stream, or if you just go to bio.link/whitepill, which is also on my socials, you'll see it everywhere there. Just click on this, donate whatever amount you can. I'm not expecting this. This is not an expectation. If you can support, if you have some extra funds, by all means, send it over. If you'd like to support the stream, because all the money donated will go towards supporting the project and all the things that I want to do in the future with it. So yes, like I said, do not feel obligated. Send if you can, but there's absolutely no obligation. And you can also add a little donation message. All donations are going to be read at the end of stream. I will not be doing alerts or anything like that. Chat as well. I will generally not be reading during the stream. That will all be done afterwards. So that being said, uh, once again, thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, it's it's good to be back, man. It is good to be back. So, um, just a quick little update. After Twitter essentially told me to fuck off, um, and that they would not be reinstating my account, somehow wound up back on Twitter. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So if you guys want to follow me there, it's at White Pill, which is WH1T3 Pill in Elite Speak. Just because we're cool like that here. But without further ado, let's get into today's story, which I found quite interesting because it's not one that pops up often. Typically, we hear in the story in the news about shortages, things running out, or just bad news overall. But this time, we actually got a good story. How the French and their power supply is outpacing demand as the electrification of their country lags. So they have too much electricity than they know what to do with. Which is, I mean, that's one thing in and of itself, but part of the reason why is because they have an extensive network of nuclear reactors. I mean, compare this to, let's see here. Yeah, like compare it to this here. I mean, just this cluster alone at the bottom here, near southern Ontario, essentially looks to be the same thing as this map right here in France. It almost seems like the same amount. And this is a much smaller country, mind you. So the fact that they've been able to do this, and mind you, this is multiple reactors at these locations. Sometimes they have 4, 5 at different megawatt production as well. But France actually has a storied history with nuclear energy. They've been building up their stockpiles for quite a while, and they never really slowed down on it, which is amazing because, I mean, that's how it should be. The nuclear age was supposed to bring us an abundance of renewable energy. Because the reputation that it has is people remember the crises like Fukushima or obviously famously Chernobyl. But the amount of reactors that are just pumping energy day in and day out, boiling water nonstop, just doing their thing without any accident or cause for concern is the majority. It's more so than those that actually have a meltdown. But let's do a brief analysis on France's history with nuclear history. Sorry, with nuclear energy. My head's a little cloudy today, so pardon me. But like I said, under the weather, but we push on. Because they've even had like propaganda posters advertising for nuclear energy. Oh, I guess I'm not gonna be able to find it, but I remember seeing some posters before. In any case, so their atomic commission was established in 1946, which led to their first reactor in 1948. And then the oil crisis in 1973 prompted the prime minister to build 58 units over 25 years. This made France the largest net electricity exporter. Amazing. Amazing. Because at the end of the day, what is nuclear energy? It's just boiling water into a turbine, right? Let's see if we can get an example up on the screen here. No audio because we don't want to get any copyright strikes. Heats up water, steam charges the turbine charges the generator, and then it goes to the power grid. Simple. Simple, right? And in terms of the spent rods, the nuclear waste, typically what happens is, from my understanding, is they just seal it in a concrete bunker deep underground, which is honestly not the worst thing that you could do, especially if it when done correctly. Yeah, freshly spent rods are first cooled in water-filled pools for several years to manage heat and decay products, and then transferred to dry casks made of thick steel and concrete, which can safely store them for 50 plus years with monitoring. These systems withstand extreme accidents, fires, and impacts with over 2,500 US shipments and no radiological releases since 1986. And then you have the deep geological repositories, which are 500 meters underground, use multiple barriers of copper, steel, bentonite clay, and stable rock to isolate waste for hundreds of thousands of years as radioactivity fades. In Canada, we have the NWMO planned repository, which follows this model and ensures no credible risks after extensive site studies. Now, keep in mind, as per always, this is just an AI summary. This is not by any means a full detailed breakdown. But this obsession that we have with nuclear waste being this, I mean, almost cartoonish entity that we have to fear. I mean, the first results that I'm going to find is like 3D rendered images of yellow barrels stockpiled. I mean, who the hell would even store nuclear waste like this? Right. See, this is a more appropriate photo. This is actually much more appropriate. Oh, sorry. Bear with me for 1 second here. Right. I mean, this is cartoonish. Oh, and I guess that's what a cross section of a barrel would look like. See, now this looks a lot more like it. This looks a lot more organized. Yeah, barrels stacked neatly in rows. And here's a cross section of exactly what that would look like. Right on. Right, not this green sludge, not the toxic Avenger who fell into nuclear waste, and this is what happened to him. Yeah, with all due respect, you wouldn't live if you got dropped in nuclear waste, or at least you wouldn't live long. And look, there's even a story talking about radiation eating bacteria. This is back in 2017. Now, on occasion, there's these stories of like plastic eating bacteria, or even here nuclear eating bacteria. I have a hard time believing those stories or even embracing them fully, just because, like, I mean, how much of a legitimate application even is that? Like, how do you even spread that? How do you convince different nation states to abide by those standards? I mean, that would be, you would need to have a global conference where this was actually a thing. Like, look at this. See, this right here, this right here is more proper. Look at these shelves. Is that? I think that's. Is that Thailand? That looks like it's Sanskrit. That looks like goddamn Sanskrit. All right, yeah, that's too many numbers. I can't read that shit. But just to highlight this story once again, France has so much power that they don't have enough use in the grid that they know what to do with. So they get to, they get to be a net export of it, which is amazing. But why are we not doing that here in North America? Why is this such an obstacle? I don't understand. Now, I know for a fact, and this is on the down low. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody I told you this. Um, I heard through the grapevine that Canada is actually working on building some portable nuclear reactors that can be moved from place to place, and just at least, like, take up less space than actually trying to build one on the ground. Um, there's not a lot of information on it available right now on the web, so I can't say much more than that. But there is a movement here where they are trying to actually propel this type of energy consumption forward, which is great because the nuclear age was supposed to promise us fucking flying cars. We were supposed to have uh I don't even know if propaganda is the right word for it, but because there has to be, no, I don't think it's the nuclear age. I think it's the atomic age. Yeah, like this is what we were promised: lavish homes. Oh God, is this just all fucking AI slop? Is this really just AI slop? Are you serious? Can we? Is there really nobody that will post anything real? Also, I said I wouldn't read chat, but State Haynes, if you want to hop on Discord and get in on this, by all means, like I will gladly hit you up because my brain's not not all there today. And I could use a co-host if you are so inclined. I'm having a hard time finding because I know there is an art movement that is actually based on this. All right, let's find out the what is the art movement that is related to the atomic nuclear age called? But yeah, Mr. Haynes, if you'd like to come on and join me in the show, by all means, you are more than welcome for the inaugural show of the return of White Pill Wednesday. Let's see here. Art nuclear. No, see, that's just putting it in French. Oh, is that actually what it's called? No, 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 no. See, this is doomer shit. This is doomer shit. No, 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 no. No, I need some hopium. I need some hopium. This is fucking this is negative. I don't like this. No, 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 no. What is the art that is related to the optimism of the? Because we're here optimism. This is White Pill Wednesday. This is an anti-black pill zone. Atomic age design. Okay. Will this actually bring it up? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Or you know what? Better yet, this is why I signed up for Pinterest. Because Google Images does not get it right all the time. And I love the oh, there we go. Look at this. Classic chairs. Oh, those cars, those metal death traps. I mean, yeah, they were actually death traps, but God, were they nice to look at. But let's see if we can get back to the design. Yeah, just look at all these nice, clean shapes. These diamonds, TVs. Look at TVs. TVs now are fucking yet a rectangle. No sheen to them, no shine, no creativity. I mean, yeah, this was a bulb, and if you sat in front of it long enough, it'd probably give you cancer, but boy, was it nice to look at. Or even stuff like this. Just look at the furniture and the desks. Right? Now it's all IKEA. Now it's all just straight edges. Now it's all just fucking plywood, simple corners. No. No, we need to return to this kind of design. We need to return to this kind of design. Because this was peak. This was peak design right here. And we've been downhill ever since. What else can we find here? Oh, look at that. Everything just has so much more character. Oh, is that a record player? Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Would you look at that? Oh, is that the famous Men in Black chair? I mean, look, yes, it's goofy as fuck, but at least it has character. Okay? At least it has character. At least it has character. This looks to be AI. I don't think this kitchen was ever built. There's at least no source to it, but like how awesome would this have been? Or a conversation pit like this? See, this is what the nuclear age was supposed to bring us. This is the promise that we were given. And by we, I mean my parents. I certainly wasn't around for this, but right, like it was supposed to unlock a new world of possibilities with unlimited energy or seemingly unlimited energy. We could build so many more greater things and just do greater things and do more with space travel and just general transportation. Now, this definitely looks AI. Yeah, this certainly looks like it's made out of AI. Great. Even Pinterest is affected by this fucking slop. Speaking of which, that McDonald's commercial got finally taken down, which is nothing short of hilarious because people reacted to it. You know, I thought the controversy was going to be part of their selling point, as I mentioned yesterday's show, but apparently it wasn't enough, or rather, it was too much controversy. Because now, if you look it up on X, now that I can actually search stuff on X, and you know what? Here, let me make sure. Okay, beautiful. McDonald's AI commercial. I'm pretty sure the latest posts say that it's not even available now. Oh, really? I saw a post literally like earlier today. I think I actually did I subtweet it? No, no. But yeah, I saw that it got taken down apparently. Which yeah, good riddance. Fucking AI slop, unbelievable. Multi-billion-dollar conglomerate like McDonald's can't even get their shit together to make a proper commercial. Oh. Is it retrofuturism? Is that also the movement? Yes, yes, that's the one. Yes, this is the art movement that I was thinking of. This is the style where you have futuristic technology, but it's analog in certain ways. This is beautiful. See, this is the kind of stuff I saw in comic book books growing up, thinking that this is what the future was going to be. Not having realized the comic books were written in the 80s and that the future never, well, it came to be, but not in the way that we hoped. Now, look, I'm not asking to be sunbathing on the moon. Okay, I'm not asking for that. I understand there's limitations, but you would think that we would have gotten some of this. I mean, shit, in Canada we don't even have high speed rail, which is such a fucking joke. I mean, I get it, the winters are harsh and all that, but like, really, we can't even figure that out. Our trains can't even run on time. Subway extensions take 15 years to finish, and they're not even finished yet. They're still working on them. I'm not blackpilling here. Don't get me wrong. Uh, Living in the present day is absolutely the luckiest time that anyone could be alive, and there's plenty to be grateful for. But with the dawn of nuclear power, you know, you could have sworn we were going to get a taste of this, or at least something close to it. Let's see if Pinterest can't give us some retrofuturism porn. Yeah, it's similar. Okay, this is AI. This is absolutely AI. Jesus Christ, get that shit off my fucking screen. I want to say this is real, but not after looking at this, because she also doesn't have a face. And then also, what's the purpose of this? That TV's not even even. Oh God. Even Pinterest isn't immune to this kind of shit. Is there no? Hold on. Who are the most famous retrofuturism artists? Let's see if we can get that. Oh, bear with me for one moment, guys. I'm gonna have to move the printer cam because we have a guest coming after all. Un momento, por favor. Beautiful. Charles and Ray Eames. Oh, these were okay. So they were artists, sure, but more so interior design than anything else. But still, quite beautiful. God, I'd kill for a house like this. Look at all that light. Amazing. Oh, these are design. Okay. Sci-fi illustrators. Sid Mead. There we go. There we go. All right. Oh, beautiful. No clue how that fucking bike would work. No clue how any of that would work, but this is the world of tomorrow. This is what I was hoping for. Whoa. That is slick. Google should be able to give us some HD shots. How magical the world would be if it were more like this. Just had wonders built out in the fucking desert. Okay, no worries. Jumping on a little bit. Yes, I am streaming on YouTube. But I prefer to link the Rumble, just because YouTube is a ticking time bomb. But I know Rumble will always be here for me. But let me drop the Rumble link here. Un momento, por favor. There we go. Should be posted everywhere now. But look at these fantastic worlds. I mean, look, there's a reason why people fall in love with the sights of Neo Tokyo, right? Of Akira, of all that, and it's not just because it's an imagining of what the world could be, but it's because like we have this tech. I have a fucking computer in my hand that is more powerful than what was on the lunar lander. Okay, like how is it that like this is the best thing that we have? Like I saw a post the other day where where somebody essentially said like to the extent that we have AI now, it's just what assistant chatbots, fucking phone answering machines. I mean, how much of this tech has actually been properly utilized? And I'm not trying to blackpill here. I'm just saying that we could have so much more. We could have so much more innovation and amazing invention if, well, shit, I don't even know what the condition is, or what's holding us back. I guess just bureaucracy. Another part of it is all the jobs that would be get taken away from it. And also keep in mind these all these worlds are just optimistic, paintings. These are a fantasy. It's not based in reality. People are scrounging and having a hard enough time just stretching their their dollars out. Like I'm pretty sure there was like 90 or 8, like more than half of the purchases made on Black Friday recently were made on layaway. Like let me look that up, make sure I'm correct. What percentage of purchases made on Black Friday were financed? I'm pretty sure if I look that up on Twitter as well. Black Friday financed. There was a tweet that somebody wrote. Yeah. Breakdown of the Black Friday data tells us the consumer is weakening. 95% of sales volume was financed. 95%. Now, where they get their numbers from, I do not understand. It looks like they're just surveys from Lending Tree, Bankrate, and NerdWallet. And this person here is is a professor. Okay. I mean, still not sure where they got their data from. Like where the no source, nothing? Is there really no source that they offered for that? That's very strange. You know what? Here, we'll until Stained Haynes gets on, let's put the 3D printer back on. Look at that thing go. Look at that fucker go. Isn't that amazing? I mean, you know what? You know what? I was just complaining about like the state of the world and why we haven't advanced to the nuclear age, and yet at the same time I'm sitting here and I'm able to look at a printer that's just making stuff for me. I just gave it instructions and it's making shit for me. So you know what? Yeah, we do live in a figment of the future, but it's certainly not where it could be. And maybe it's just my fever brain talking. Maybe it's just because I'm sick and I'm high on hopium because I'm back on X, and this is the inaugural stream. Maybe that's why. Maybe, but that too is also incredible. Yeah, okay, it's making that a shitty Chinese plastic that they probably got from fucking I don't know what burning COVID masks or whatever the hell. Um, but that's cool. That's cool that this is even a thing. If I tried telling my grandma that my grandma who survived the Soviet Union, God, she wouldn't even understand. She'd flip shit. She'd think that thing was magic, which it might as well honestly be. It might as well just be magic. Okay, let's see here. Oh, got a little bit of nudity there. Can't be looking at that for too long, or we're gonna get banned. Nope. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Now that's some Blade Runner shit. I think that actually is Blade Runner shit. Oh, it's concept art. Gotcha. Now look, Blade Runner wasn't all that great of a world either. All right, Blade Runner had a lot of things going wrong for it. Very bleak kind of world. Or even like Altered Carbon, which for anyone that hasn't seen, Altered Carbon is a fantastic show. Great show. Obviously, most of it is like CG, and the first season is really peak. Second season, everything just kind of fell off, and it started trying to get into the story too much. But the basic premise is you have a discovery that allows mankind to transcend their lifespan by uploading themselves into essentially a chip that is implanted into everyone's um, the base of their skull once they're old enough. And the rich people, they can afford to make clones of themselves and copy backups of their brains into these chips, which they then upload into these clones if they're dying or if they're sick or what have you. So they will live on forever and ever and ever. And those that actually amass um, massive wealth, they will live on for centuries as a result of this because they can just afford to keep having clones. Meanwhile, the poor people are, well, not only do they deal with the shitty lifespan, but if they do get a replacement, or if let's say they go to jail, uh, which in their world is because technically you don't die if you're uploaded, if your body just deteriorates but the chip stays alive, then they keep the chip on ice and spin you back up into a random body that they were just had that was discarded that nobody needed or wasn't using once you come back out of your prison sentence. And so rich people could actually choose what their, as they call them, sleeves looked like and their physical attributes and all that. But the poor people just got stuck with whatever. So there's like a haunting scene at the beginning of this. The beginning of the show where this family was waiting for their little girl or whatever, and it just wound up in this giant body. Okay, here's where they're collecting the prisoners, and a 7-year-old got put into the body of. Uh, she looks menopausal, I guess like 50, 60-year-old, which is so crazy. Yeah, you get whatever's in inventory. Wow. Put her back in storage. Oh, what the fuck are these recommended videos? Oh my god. What the hell? Okay, I'm not even watching that. No, thank you. No. But that does remind me of this one video where I think it was Japan death penalty. Just a little bit off topic here, but Japan has, I don't know if cruel is the word for it, but they have a very interesting, probably the most interesting death penalty uh in the world where every single day, if you are on death row, you will wake up and you are not told the date of your execution. I'm pretty sure it's still done by hanging. Uh, you will wake up and you don't know if today's the day. So every single day, you go through, you know, your schedule, you're going out for lunch, what have you, in the rec yard, and you have no idea if you are to be executed. You don't know if it's 10 days, if it's 20 days, if it's 30 days, if it's 1,000 days. No clue whatsoever. And they just keep you in this limbo. Which, honestly, now that I think about it, that's probably the best way to go about the death penalty. I mean, like, considering that, like, you are eventually going to kill them. That is probably the best way to go about it because, when you give someone an actual time, that gives them something to look forward to. It gives them something to like an attainable goal that once they reach a certain amount of days, they can say, "Oh, I'm a quarter done," or "I'm a half done," or "I'm 90% done," or what have you. But for the people that actually commit a heinous enough crime that is deserving of the death penalty, that's probably one of the better ways to go about it. Is having them not know that today could be their last day. In a way, it is. I guess you could classify it as psychological torture, but I mean, if the act that they committed is so heinous that they are getting the death penalty anyways, then why not? Oh, and I guess these are three buttons that they use for the hanging, but they don't know which button. Like, if they press the button simultaneously, they don't know who actually pressed the button. Interesting. Wow, they actually get paid. The officers get 200 US dollars for the execution. That is incredible. Sorry, we got on the topic because of Altered Carbon. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. It's a great show to say the least. And it really takes the idea of what immortality means, what it means to be human and to live a full life to its extent. It was written as like a shitty science fiction novel that nobody really heard of, and Netflix picked it up, and of course, absolutely butchered the second season and killed it completely. Which actually reminds me, where are we at that buyout? What's happening with the Netflix purchase of Warner Brothers? While we check that, give me 1 second, guys. Here's a little chilly in here. Canadian winter is hitting hard, and I'm a sickly little boy, so I'm gonna put my hood on. Ooh, that's a lot more comfortable. There we go. So it looks like we still haven't made any ground since Paramount launched another bid for the entirety of Warner Brothers Discovery. Okay. They're looking to block the Netflix deal by saying that they have a much higher value estimate. And so as a result, as their fiduciary duty to the shareholders, Netflix, well, sorry, not Netflix, but Paramount, or Jesus Christ, Discovery, would be obligated to look at that deal instead. And decision date is by December 19th. It's only 9 days away that they got to make that decision. Huh. That's not too long. Honestly, if they do go through with this merger, if they do end up purchasing this, there's a couple things at play here because if Paramount manages to do this, like let me just give you guys a brief overview. So they own, let's see here. No, 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 no. I don't need this. I need there has to be a diagram that shows, okay, what brands slash companies slash productions does Paramount Skydance own? Skydance Animations, Miramax, Paramount Television, which includes MTV Animation and BET Studios. Hold on. Give as detailed a breakdown as possible. Let's find out. Let's do a little deep dive here. Hold on. In bullet points. Make it easier for my sickly brain to read. Also, I think I just burned 20 trees with these prompts, so this better be worth it. Paramount Pictures, Skydance Studios, Nickelodeon Movies, Paramount Animation, Paramount Television Studios, MTV Animation, CBS Studios, Skydance Games, Skydance Interactive, Skydance Television Studios, the CW, MTV, Comedy Central, BET, Nickelodeon, VH1, CMT, so it's Country Music Entertainment, CBS Sports and CBS News, Pluto TV, Fubo TV, fucking Fubo, fucking Fubo. So they own a good chunk of it. They also own 50% of South Park. Interesting. So on top of that, they now want to own Warner Brothers. Okay. Uh, Now let's. You know what? Let's get a list of. Give me a list of IPs and productions under the Warner Bros. Umbrella. Let's find out here. Let's find out. Also, how's my 3D printer looking? Okay, we're about an hour and a half until the print is done. Look at that thing go. Zooming. Looks like so they Warner Brothers obviously they own DC Comics, so the entirety of DC. Uh, Harry Potter, so everything Harry Potter. Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons, Mortal Kombat, The Matrix, Mad Max, Blade Runner, Dune, Inception, and Tenet. Well, I mean, they're not gonna do anything with that. Godzilla and Pacific Rim, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, The Conjuring, It, The Shining, Orphan. Okay. Looney Tunes, Scooby Doo, Tom and Jerry, Lego. Well, Lego movie series, anyways. Powerpuff Girls, Animaniacs, and Pinky at the Brain. Oh, they're not gonna. I don't know if there's gonna be anything new there. Game of Thrones, Succession, Euphoria, The White Lotus, True Detective, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Veep, The Last of Us, Watchmen, Penguin, Casablanca, The Maltese Falcon, Barbie. Barbie sequels in development, the Minecraft movie, Ocean's 11, Lethal Weapon, and Rush Hour. Speaking of which, Rush Hour is getting a sequel apparently. Well, I don't know what the fourth one is called, but they're making 4. Okay. And if Netflix purchases all that, I mean, they have all that IP to play with. Because realistically, like here's the thing: people talk about this as if it's like gonna kill cinema. This is just gonna be another deathly blow to cinema if they own all of these IPs. But realistically, like if they own all these IPs, they're just gonna be rehashing it. They're just gonna be making some new movies like Batman 4 or like whatever the fuck, right? The Mad Max 4, The Last of Us 6. Like they're just gonna be remaking it. So who gives a shit? Remakes are kind of the bread and butter for most uh entertainment companies now. I mean that's just where we are in the cycle right now. We're just rehashing old shit. But realistically, like, do we care that they're gonna remake it? I mean, the Harry Potter remake is happening whether or not this purchase goes through or not. You know, Barbie's sequels are in development regardless of this, and maybe they'll be affected by it. Sure, maybe production will be shut down or moved elsewhere or somehow transferred. But at the same time, like if they're just remaking it, then does it really matter? Like, does it really matter? Like, people were like up in arms saying, "Oh my god, another conglomerate is buying all this IP." Like, okay, but shouldn't we be making new things? Shouldn't isn't the upside here that like, okay, well, at least Netflix will have that entire catalog of stuff to work with, and now people are going to be able to stream it at home. But shouldn't we be actually like making new movies and new ideas? Doesn't this in a way actually benefit the theaters or like moviegoers especially because now all the remakes that people can just watch them at home instead of having to pay $40 for a movie ticket and $100 for some popcorn? I'm obviously exaggerating, but it costs an arm and a leg to go to the movies these days. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of just seeing remakes in theaters. And not saying that like I go to them all the time. I mean, I might as well be insane if I do that. But what I am saying though is I hate seeing like the trailers or the hype for them in the theaters because like I'd rather just watch that at home. I'd rather because it's not even like a fun night out. It's not even like an event. It's not even something special. It's just oh cool, they got the gang back together. Or oh, they invited some handsome actor to play in the prequel or whatever the fuck, right? With these new adaptations, realistically, if they're just doing all this rehashing, but now you could see it in your living room instead of having to go pay for a ticket, doesn't that then incentivize theaters to be like, okay, well, I guess that's an entire avenue closed down. We can't we can't just show this stuff in theaters because people are just gonna watch it at home. Isn't that gonna incentivize them to be like, okay, we're hungry for more. We're hungry for more newer things. Isn't this gonna be easier for people to take risks with movie making and then to see if it'll actually play off in the box office? Look, I could be talking out of my ass here, all right? Because I know next to nothing about the movie making business. Oh, looks like we got our friend. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, and so can the stream. Let me share my screen here so that you can see what it looks like.
Oh, shit. All
I
right,
was
let me
just
just tweet out that I am on the air. Un
beautiful.
momento.
Take your time.
Alrighty. 1 second. And first of all, welcome back. Bienvenido.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. I'm doing some MS Paint fuck nuttery right now. Luchador Prime has entered the server. So first and foremost, I kind of missed out the very beginning of the stream. I hopped on when you had radioactive waste, and that reminded me. I don't know if you're familiar with this very infamous incident, Tunnel of Love, where like a bunch of nuclear waste or radioactive waste was like buried somewhere, and the kids started getting birth defects from it. You familiar with that at all?
No, I'm not. But let me look that up. Let me find the
Or
story.
might be the Love Canal. There we go. Canal of Love can refer to two very different places. The infamous Love Canal. Oh, okay, so oh, not the
The Love
other
Canal.
Canal of Love.
No,
No,
no.
no. Although it is funny, it says Canal d'Amor, Channel of Love in Corfu, Greece, a beautiful rock formation with romantic legends about finding love. Okay, AI. Okay, okay. You're not as dirty as I thought you were. But yeah, the Love Canal in Niagara Falls, a Superfund site known for toxic waste and then major environmental disaster. So yeah, um,
Jesus
first of all,
Christ.
if it's one thing to shove like radioactive waste somewhere and call it a day, but if you shove enough, it's called a Superfund. Uh, and that term was explicitly created to downplay how absolutely horrifically nightmarishly the earth has been twisted beyond belief and recognition because of nuclear waste. Look, just type in Superfund nuclear waste and see what pulls up. I can't do it justice, dude.
Okay. See, I was talking about the stuff on the stream, and I was like, man, look at how neatly stacked these barrels are. You see, we could deal with nuclear waste. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But no, I believe it. That's just a fucking pail from Home Depot, dog. That's not even a that's not even a barrel. Like, come on.
Hey, you're expecting dudes with hazmat suits and like bulldozers? No, no, no. Like, imagine like three-letter agencies are setting up Superfund sites recruiting from Home Depot. Oye, trabaja con la basura radioactivo. Sí, claro que sí. Right. Hard cut. Fuck, they left the buckets behind. Ah, who cares?
Let me see if I can find a map of this, because oh my god. So wait, so these are all the areas people just can't live in?
No, no, you can live in, but it is
Oh,
very
right,
much not
right.
recommended. And if I believe correctly, New Jersey is the super
Mhm,
heavyweight
mhm.
champion of super funds.
I bet, there's a website I remember, I saw it a while back where it was basically like it was showing the issue when you, like, treat correlation as like the prime statistical value, and someone said like, oh, if you look at, I think it's like something like Nicolas Cage movies and drownings, you'll see like the rate basically the same as like his career takes off, like drownings in certain areas like takes off. And I'm wondering if what the correlation would look like if we could plot this in like IQ levels, or anything for that matter. That would be
Oh
interesting.
no, which by the way, I would like to speak on behalf of the stream and say we are not looking down on our brothers and sisters in New Jersey,
No, no.
um, because it is in the tri-state area. Like realistically speaking, if me and some homies were in Jersey, were hanging out, and like Mongolians came bursting through the wall on horseback with flaming machetes, Team New York and Team Jersey would square up together because Team Tri-State. All right. So that being said, I, in a roundabout way, support New Jersey supremacy. It is a beautiful state, and I hope no one goes there to find out on their own. I hope the gray blob of gentrification never touches that beautiful fucking state. And that being said, I'm certain there's a correlation between Superfund sites and IQ. No one ever
Mhm.
brings this up, but simply de-leading the paint of stuff in the South increased the IQ by like 20 points and got rid of a bunch of like parasite worms.
Oh yeah,
Look up,
big time.
de-leading paint South IQ. I'm sure fucking something is gonna come up. I'm certain. You see, ladies and jerks, notice he's not using Google. Google is not a search engine, by the way. Reminder.
No, there absolutely is, and I've done like some just amateur research into it, but it's not just IQ. It's also like violent tendencies and just certain like behavioral patterns that you'll notice. That like the moment that they started removing lead from, well, everything, all of that just
Yes.
started to go away.
Yes. Yes. And it's scary because it becomes increasingly harder to find research on shit like this. Hold on. You mind if I share something
By all means.
on the stream with all right. So I have been working on the third book and other endeavors over the past few days by like digging through my notes and in so many words, um, looking back to shit like PDFs I saved off of 8chan from back in like 2017. That's when I got this computer. So it's been kind of fascinating to go through 8 years of what the world was around me by virtue of what I was saving on my computer. GIFs, pictures, memes, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, there's one research. Okay, so, okay, so it's not in this notepad. Let's see if it's in here. No, that's about the Great Game. And by the Great Game, I mean when, like, the Russian and the British Empire were competing for Central Asia.
Hmm. Of
Um,
course.
ho hold on. Oh, no, that's about iodine, but, the word research is in it. That's not it. Serotonin deficiency, that's not it. Not it, not it. This is number three. Oh, it might be a number four. Derp. Okay, hang on. Give me a second. Research. Oh, you son of a bitch! Okay, basically, then I just have to do it off the top of my head. Basically, it is difficult to replicate the results in a number of research papers that were done over the past couple of decades. And then attempts to replicate that, you can't offer the same results. So if you can't offer the same results, now the studies don't stand. All right. That being said, thus begins this really weird black hole of academic research, and where it's almost entirely based off of shit you can't prove anymore. So imagine that cascading of fucked up information, and that is where you have to look for studies that are true. Like, does that make sense?
No, no, absolutely, it does. I totally get what you mean, 'cause if the foundation that you start with is, I mean, if it's sand, then everything else built on top of it is gonna be shit, but because it's academia, they have to make a name for themselves, and the more they get published in these journals, the journals have to, justify all their expenses and everything like that. Like, they don't really care about the truth. They just wanna make it so that, "Oh, we got to publish this study, and this study was, got somebody the Nobel Prize, and now we're actually named in the footnote or whatever the fuck textbook."
Yes.
It's all just about, like, getting names and getting recognition. So, yeah, no, absolutely, that does make sense. And there
So,
is actually, yeah, I have another story after yours, but you go ahead.
just very quickly, the best example of this is that it's not just research we can't replicate. Like, well, one reason we can't replicate it is because the basis was faulty research. Like you said, it
Mm,
was to
mhm,
begin with. For example, um, it turns out a majority of United States and global cancer research, the starting point was working with cancer that was taken from a woman named Henrietta Lacks. Of
mhm,
great on this is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Okay, she died of cancer that was basically like, um, to this day, no one has seen such a vicious cancer that overrode the entire body. Right? Nothing in the world like it. Like, all right. So they kept some because everyone was the scientists and researchers were like, holy shit, look at this. So it turns out that was the cancer that they started testing treatment and drugs on. And maybe this started out as like, well, if we could defeat the most powerful and vicious cancer with an unstoppable appetite, then we could stop all cancer. I'm willing to give benefit of the doubt. That's how it started. And it turns out, like, oh no, it was actually very like, it was cancer so rare, it was the equivalent of like that was basically a once in a lifetime event, fingers crossed.
mhm, mhm.
Is of uh flipping a coin, having a seizure, calling it in midair, and
And
having it,
catching it.
yes, in your mouth, what, mid seizure.
Yeah.
That statistical likelihood of anyone catching this shit. And there are diseases that are so fucking rare. Like, there's one disease, um I tweeted it out. I forget, but I made a meme about it where, like, basically your face swells up and you almost look like a fucking puppet, and only like 9 people on Earth have it. But there was a guy, this Asian guy, I think he was Chinese, and I was like, wow, this guy's got a disease. Only 1 out of 9 people have it. It makes Chinese people look even more Chinese. So, anyways, so it turns out all of this research, all of the time and money and careers and energy, for what? Now they're in a very tricky situation, in where, like, if you keep going forward, no ground will be broken in good faith or ever at all. And the likelihood of starting over, nah. That, no. And over the years it's gotten trickier and trickier because, like, especially when it comes to cancer and cancer prevention, right? Like, here in the United States, they implemented like a public smoking ban in like the early 2000s. You couldn't, like, you couldn't smoke indoors anymore in like bars and
Mhm.
restaurants. That has done less than nothing to stop the rates of cancer wherever smoking bans have been implemented. Nothing. So, like, we're not, the problem of cancer we are not approaching properly, and the research of it is just one head of this horrific hydra, right? I don't know if you've read How to Bomb the U.S. Government, but there's a chapter in it called "The Cancer Industrial Complex." And I walked away from reading that thinking, you know what? There's a good chance cancer is caused by negative emotions. I can't prove it, but I believe it. It's not the only cause, but like the constant battering ram of stress and fear. Oh, yeah, that's just a bonus multiplier for cancer or a lot of diseases, actually. So, anyways, yeah, that's something I plan. Because I'm glad you, because like again, this doesn't apply just to like cancer research. Think of all the places decades ago where they're like, yeah, just put the radioactive barrels of waste with the bucket and no one will notice. And then you have like Agent Orange babies being born left and right, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Thank you for this unsolicited TED talk. Sorry I couldn't bring up the notes proper, but the fact that we can't like, and this isn't a new problem. Like white pill. Just imagine having to deal with this shit, but like with Alzheimer's, with schizophrenia, with schizophrenia. In fact, bro, there was a guy who did research, and he was like, "Hey, there's exactly 27 different kinds of schizophrenics you could encounter, and if you read the Bible, whatever voices the people hear, they get angry and command them to kill." I'm not making just type in fucking schizophrenia research Bible, and I'm sure the guy will come up. And even though this, like, right, just that doesn't stop pharmaceutical dry ice companies from making billions off of schizophrenics. Like, I know this sounds all cockamamie, but like, this isn't hidden lore. This isn't like stuff you have to find by holding people gunpoint at the Cornell University. This is all common knowledge. Hold on, did your mastermind AI language learning model Android slave come up with anything for the?
It's still thinking. It's still thinking. I gave it very general terms, so we'll see what it comes up with. No. There was 61 chapters offering practical guidelines for assessment and treatment in various settings. No, okay. So basically, you said so you could differentiate the type of schizophrenia based on who the voices told the person to kill.
Well, hold on. I gotta. Fuck. You know what? Let me get my phone because looking for shit on Twitter just doesn't work on a browser. 1 second.
By all means,
I remember tweeting this out and someone responded to me to the effect of like, "Oh yeah, so and so did a study." 1 second. Hold on.
because I'll just talk about malpractice. There was actually a scandal in the Alzheimer's research community. I think not even like I think it was actually pre-COVID, or maybe around the time of COVID. But yeah, it turns out that the foundation for Alzheimer's research has actually been based on false data. So all the work they've been putting into it for like 20 some odd years was what they thought was like, oh, this is the standard. This is what we have to go by. It's completely false.
Mm,
Completely falsified information.
hold on. And you know what? I'm certain that anyone listening to the stream is like, this nigga's fucking crazy. But like, no. I assure you, it's very real. Fuck. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Schizophrenia
Take your time. Take your time. I'm not the drunk on the
research.
Alzheimer's.
Hold on. No, it's not a research. Oh, God damn it. Oh, you know what? Hang on. I got an idea. I am gonna look here. Do I have it in my notes? Hold on. Schizophrenia people. Which of yeah, here we go. Jerry Marzinski worked with schizophrenics for over 40 years. Says there's no evidence of chemical imbalances. His last name is spelled Marzinsky. And there you go. In his research, he was like, "Yeah, I forget the Bible passages, but evidently by reading them aloud, the patient would be like, yeah, the voices are telling me to murder you now."
Interesting.
All right, perplexity. Now that I like how perplexity is sort of like when you're dealing with like something on the astral plane, because you can't be like, hey, smite my enemy for me. Which one, white pill? But then if you're like, hey, smite my enemy, John Johnson from Wisconsin, who's 6'2", 187 pounds and drives a Ford Focus and lives over in Vancouver, he's like, got it. You know, he's so
You got to be specific. Yeah.
right. So the fact that you gave him some toenail clippings and a piece of hair, he knows exactly who you got to whack now. I mean, research.
Yeah, here it is. He conducted decades of research on schizophrenia by interviewing patients about their auditory experiences. It includes that these voices represent external entities exhibiting fixed negative behaviors, including strong aversion to biblical content like Psalm 23. Strong aversion to biblical content. Interesting.
Write that down. That's a that's. I'm stealing
Wow.
that. Hold on. Hold on. Strong aversion
To
to.
biblical content. Wow.
Oh, that is such a great way of saying blasphemous, like evil.
I mean, that's like I am not surprised that that back then people had these concepts of the devil living through people. Like when you start reading the Bible, the voices start telling them to kill them. I mean, that's
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, a great example of the significance of that. I know it's a movie, but if people want to see a great depiction of shit that was inspired by real life events in the movie The Exorcist, it's not until when they're like, "Oh fuck, we got to start praying," and then things go from bad to worse.
hmm
You know.
hmm
So remember, ladies and jerks, every schizophrenic is dealing with the events of The Exorcist, but in their mind and worse, 24/7. You see,
Well,
if
the
you'll
thing with
allow me.
before you do that, the thing with schizophrenia, I
Yes,
heard
yes.
that apparently if you are schizophrenic, depends on like where you are in the world, but like schizophrenics in Africa have like friendly voices, but schizophrenics in North America are like, yeah, you should stab your boss, like you should fucking,
Oh, so
you
because
should
here's
kill that
and
homeless guy.
see that is why. See that is why people tend to be like, oh yeah, like your local shaman was probably a schizophrenic of 4,000 years ago. Which there might be some truth to that, because how come in parts of the third world, like schizophrenics, they're not running around hacking their fellow man to death and like wearing their skulls as hat and tap dancing down rivers, right? Because that's what they do here in the United States. They and worse. Okay. In fact, I always wondered exactly what percentage of the homeless is just untreated mental illness. Because like some people are homeless due to fucked up circumstance. No one ever wants to admit this, but there is a population of the homeless that chooses to be homeless. But that's a small fraction relative to hard times. The rest of them, untreated mental illness. Homelessness rose tenfold in the United States when Reagan closed down the asylums.
hmm
Like it's really all right. Before I discuss schizophrenia, all right, which there's a chapter about it in the third book. Is there anything you want to say before I hold your space hostage again?
Yeah, for more history buffs, apparently there's a theory that says that the Oracle of Delphi's prophetic trances were actually caused by her huffing gas on the rock that she inhabited.
Oh
Like,
yeah, well, they were able to trace that there were like gases emerging out from the cracks,
mhm,
and
mhm,
they kind of deduced that they were like, all right, we could test it right now, and right now there's gas coming out of it, right? Imagine how
mhm.
much gas was coming out of it when this bitch was alive. She must have been
Yeah.
getting zonked, bro. She must have been like in like the fucking demi-plane of salt playing 7D water polo with astral entities and like digital hobos. Right. I just so so no. I think there's a gag about it in The Simpsons where oh no, it's not the Temple of Apollo. Like there's Ned Flanders
She would have
opens
loved Galaxy Gas.
yes. No, that's incredible. It turns out the Oracle of Delphi, big fan of whippets. Big fan of whippets and keyboard cleaner. um, so no, there's an episode of The Simpsons where Ned Flanders makes a Bible-themed amusement park, and people start having visions when they're in front of, like, I think a statue of Maud or something.
Jesus Christ.
And then one by one, people are paying to kneel in front of Maud and have insane visions. And I think, yeah, and then it turns out it's a gas leak. So it's sad because, like, the Oracle of Delphi is now in the permanent cultural canon. Like, even if right now all screens would simultaneously tell us this information, we're just gonna go back to referring to the Oracle of Delphi being like like a fucking precog or some shit. You know, it's fascinating.
Yeah, to say the least. Um, but before we had you join there, actually, I was talking about the Netflix acquisition, or at least their offer to acquire Warner Brothers, which I've seen a lot of people doomer post about it, but I don't know if it's my fever brain talking because I'm sick, but I was thinking like that's probably a good thing that Netflix owns it instead of Paramount, because all they're buying is just old IPs. So all this like rehashed shit that they're gonna come up with, they're making it so that you don't have to waste $40 and for a ticket and $100 for popcorn, seeing it at a movie theater. You can just watch it at home. So now movie theaters are
Mm.
gonna be incentivized to actually show like movies, like actual movies. Like yeah, they're gonna be showing like rehashed shit, obviously still. But if they take Warner Brothers off the table and they don't show them in movie theaters anymore, well, that's a good chunk of media that we don't have to rewatch and get rehashed.
Well, I hate to admit that you have a point because it is a symptom and product of the times. Because the same way my generation, because I was born in ye olden early 1980s. Okay, so I grew up and arcade games were everywhere, and then I saw them die, and now they only exist um, in bars in Japan. Okay,
Hmm.
so I think movie theaters, it's gonna take longer, but they're gonna be quaint and almost novelty-ish in a way. Like,
Hmm.
uh, in fact, I would go as far to say that I don't know if there are electric vehicles in your neck of the woods,
Oh yeah,
but they sound. I will never get used to that fucking sound.
I
It,
hate
it
it.
just so they're gonna be hipsters in the 2060s, and it's like, my car uses a combustible engine. You know, Mark,
Yeah,
include me
yeah.
in the screen cap. Include me in the screen cap. And on the way there, it's gonna be like, yeah, I'm watching it on 8 millimeter. No big deal. Uh,
Of course. I mean, if
but
they don't outlaw them, like right here, they tried to outlaw them so that no new gas cars are going to be made past like 2035 or something nationwide across Canada. But I think that got repealed, so they kind of kicked the
You
can down the
gotta
road.
be kidding me. They
Yeah,
tried to get rid of the combustible engine in Leafland.
yeah,
Oh, that's so gay.
like
Uh,
California, and also like with our winters, like yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's just have everything EVs. Like yeah, fuck it, why not, man? Let's just have our fucking batteries freeze over
oh,
in the
that's
middle
fucking
of winter,
terrifying.
and the coyote's gonna eat your ass if you're out in fucking Manitoba, just driving in between towns, and then you're stuck. Like, are
Oh
you
man.
serious, bro? Yeah, they
Thanks,
tried that.
Parliament.
They
Really
tried that.
quickly, I sorry I've been dragging ass on that, but there was something regarding stencils you wanted, so check Discord when you get the chance.
Excellent. Yeah, I just
Um,
saw that. Thank
yeah,
you.
it's a very bro. All right, so the reason I'm coming across like shit like this, as I mentioned, like, I'm digging through my computer and I'm finding gems. I'm finding shit like, hold on. You know what I think would be really interesting? Hold on. I think you and your audience will enjoy this. I would like for you to show this on the space and to read it aloud because someone followed up on this and they realized a lot of bots come from Amazon, aka the Pentagon. It just this is, and again, this is not this isn't hidden occult secrecy. And Anon one day was like, "Hey, 8chan keeps getting flooded by bots and shills. And this was the result.
Well, there was a story. I think Reddit had like an outage for like I think like half a day or something, and somebody decided to like look at network traffic where Reddit was concentrated, and they linked it to
Lit
U.S.
Air
Air
Force
Force.
Base.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Air Force.
Well, the
Yeah,
Air Force they do have the PSYOP region of the Army is under the Air Force technically for some reason. So
yes. Well, not just the air. Well, I mean, cloud seeding, weather control. HARP, HAARP. Do you know what that is?
mm-hmm.
Right, right. It sort of makes sense. The Air Force would be involved with that. What the real horrific shit? Like the real Men in Black are motherfuckers like the Office of Naval Intelligence. Because first of all, anything human or otherwise that crashes in the ocean, who's got to get it?
Well,
Right,
yeah.
right. Two, uh, the Office of Naval Intelligence. Um, they're not beholden only to the sea. I can't. Well, all right. I can't prove this, but Slenderman was created by the Office of Naval Intelligence and fostered on the Something Awful forums. At least one of the killers for the original Slenderman murders, Something Awful Goon, and you could trace their posting history to accounts that were. Yeah, there you go. So use your own imagination. The Office of Naval Intelligence, those motherfuckers are the real Men in Black. Mm.
I believe it. No, I believe it. I mean the only time we ever like really encounter something like that, at least out in the wild where they have to actually make that admission, is like once every couple of years when we have like a Snowden type figure. But recently here in Canada, during COVID, the Canadian Army got caught running psyops on like these little small towns, and it was just like very small things. They were talking about like coyotes or something, but they were just simply like testing out, to what extent they could make people afraid of local coyote attacks. And when you're in a small town, like that matters a lot more than just living in a city. Living in a city, you're like, whatever, I'm in a high rise. The thing's not gonna fucking come up here. Who gives a shit? But
Right.
if you're in a small town, especially in Canada, and you don't have access to a gun, or if you do, it's behind a safe, or you just you're an old senior person or what have you. You're just on Facebook, fucking boomer posting all the time. It's gonna be a little bit more
With
impactful
the
than
TV
anything.
on with the TV on full volume, you're
Yeah,
you're scrolling through Facebook stories that play on loop as you read every comment and like every comment.
at
Yes.
your most vulnerable. Yeah, exactly. And they were told to stop. Like the Canadian Army was like told like you guys better fucking cut this shit out by the feds, and they they still persisted, and it became like a little scandal, which nobody like. It was kind of like a side note, and I was like, this should be a full blown scandal across the entire. How is this not? The Canadian Army literally got caught fucking running psyops on its population. Like I understand, like if they got caught running psyops on some fucking village in Thailand, I wouldn't give a shit. Like, sorry to the people in Thailand that my government is doing it, but hey, at least it's on my people. But like when
You know
they're
what? You
doing
know
it
what?
on their own people, like what the fuck, man?
You know what? I love how even though Canada kind of prides itself in being not America, America does to her own people what China does to the rest of the world. So I'm kind of glad that Canada takes a page from America's book and goes, "Hey, let's put our citizens through hell because reasons." You know,
Oh
uh,
yeah, we
um,
were
and
complicit in MK Ultra.
dude, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and not only that, um, there. Okay, first of all, it's a self-published book. You might be able to find it on Amazon, but there's a book with the title to the effect of Confessions of a Former CSIS Agent. And in the book, I believe that's the title. In the book, there are details like, oh yeah, they have informants everywhere, and a lot of the informants are like fucking bums and junkies and criminals, and they pay them in gift cards because there's no cash, there's no digital trail. All right. Second of all, the guy who wrote it, he was like, "Oh no, I was MK Ultra, and I remember once I got a phone call, I picked it up, and I blacked out, and I woke up like halfway to Saskatchewan, walking in the snow. Like there's shit like that in the
Yep.
book, and right, it's fascinating how and it's weird because as his own admission, like." He joined CSIS because he wanted to do the right thing, and everyone who joins, like, you got to take a test. They're like, "Hey, you specialized in X, Y, and Z. Work in this division." And it was like, "We're just gonna drug you and see what happens and make." Oh, he came back alive and he carried out the mission. I bet. And cut to like some scientists high fiving and other scientists going, "Oh shit!" Right. Confessions of a CSIS agent. You might be able to find it. Oh,
Yeah, I looked
Confessions
it
of a
up
former
and
CSIS agent.
it only caught on the like ex Secret Service agent, which is the
Oh,
famous one by George
boo.
Rush.
Okay, I'll go through my notes. I'll see if I could find it. But you see, ladies and jerks, I joke about a lot, but I never lie. Oh, and from the first book, all dogs go to heaven except pit bulls. You got to do me a favor here. The ONI, the AFOSI, and the DIA are the real men in black. So, very quickly, because I don't want to fuck this up. The ooh PSYOPs, the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. All right. Them, the Office of Naval Intelligence, and the DIA. Come on. I'm a burger and I don't even know my own three-letter agencies.
There's too
America.
many.
Oh, here we go. The Defense Intelligence. This is the best part. Before getting the first book lined up, I had never heard of the Defense Intelligence Agency until getting the. Right. No one has heard of the Defense Intelligence Agency. No one. No one. And like white pill. There are things about the American government that there are very simple questions no one asks, or very simple ideas that are blind spots to us that until someone points it out to you, you can't, it's hard to come to these own conclusions. For example, Area 51, right? We don't know what's in areas 1 through 50. We have less knowledge of everything in areas 1 through 50 than what we do know with Area 51. And what we do know is terrifying.
Yeah,
Because they're
it could also be like the Google thing where like Google named their first office like Office 20 something so that they make it look like they have 26 like previous offices.
Oh,
Or do
that's
you think
true. That's
or do you,
that's
do you,
true.
do you think that there's actually like areas 1, area 2, area 3, area 4?
Oh, it's a joke, but in the novel I'm working on, in Area 3, that's where they have the machine that turns water into gold, and they've been working really hard on the water into cocaine machine. That's a joke from American Dad, but I love how like they the transmutation machines have been around since like allegations of such things. Okay, hey, white pill, ladies and jerks, you want to see something crazy? All right, there was a card game by Steven Jackson called New World Order. I'm sure you've heard of it, or maybe have seen it posted. New World Order card game. There you go, Illuminati, New World Order. Okay. There are cards in that game that some consider to be prophetic. I know that's a very weird thing to pitch, but hold on. Gold machine. Let's see. Like for example, it was a trading card game, and it directly invoked things like the weather machine, engineered pandemics, the role of propaganda. Let's see. Harp. Hold on. Transmutation machine. Hold on. Transmutation machine. Yeah, but I can't prove it. But areas 1 through 50. Who the fuck knows? We don't. Because listen, dude. We only know the name Area 51 because like that's what it was called on a pre-existing map. First of all. So that was designated elsewhere, presumably by the government. That is Area 51. Now, what we can confirm about it is that if you look it up on satellite and zoom out, there are a lot of pockmarks and cratered earth around it, whether you want to say that's because of nuke or explosive testing. But um, there are, for example, all the garbage is privately taken, like they have their own sanitation department and employees are flown in privately day in and day out.
Oh, of course,
Um,
yeah.
like it's and you know what? I think he called into Coast to Coast, but there was a guy who claimed to be an employee of Area 51, and it is the most panic-inducing phone call I have ever. It's worse than 911 calls, and it was like, the chimp is eating her face! It's worse than that. because like early on he just opens with like they're going to triangulate my position, I don't have a lot of time, and he begins talking about how like it's see if you could look up fuck, I know I'm all over the place here, but I can't find this fucking card. The machine that turns water into gold. It's a fucking card. The Illuminati card game. Fuck. Shit. Let's see. Oh, wait. Oh, also, prior to 9/11, this card game is the only reference I've ever seen or heard of the National Security Agency. I'm sure it was invoked or mentioned at some earlier point in time. But, like, imagine 9/11 happens and then you hear about the NSA in the news, and then you realize, oh, did anyone talk about this before? And you look it up on a search engine, and you find a fucking trading card game from 95.
There's a
It's
perpetual motion machine.
yes, yes.
Not a gold machine, but that's perpetual. Yeah, it's different. There was a
Let's
Mossad card as well.
yes, I bro. There's a Saddam Hussein card. Oh, you
There's a
know the
gang card, urban
wait,
gang
wait, wait,
card.
wait, 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 wait. You know that meme? Good luck. I'm posting behind 7 proxies.
Yeah, yeah.
That comes from an Illuminati card. I think it's the big media card. That is its origin.
Oh yeah,
So
I
let's
see
see.
it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but any look, anyone who wants to look it up, someone did their due diligence and uploaded a scan of every card, and one of those cards is a fucking. Like, there's a machine that literally turns water into gold. Right. So I'm inclined to believe such a thing exists because, like, this is one of those gems where this whole card game. And by the way, the card game got Steven Jackson's home and his office raided by the FBI.
Oh, I
True
believe
story.
it.
True
I
story.
believe it. Yeah, I mean, if you're making something, because I'd imagine there were quite a few sales from this game, but if you're making anything like that, I mean, shit. If I like say a death threat against the president, I'll get a visit from the FBI. You know, they've visited people for less.
Oh yeah, and in fact, they'll probably I'm sure a secret service will probably call up CSIS and be like, "Yeah, this guy, he's talking mad shit about our president. Can you look? You know, you could come up with probable cause that if a Canadian is making threats about the American president, he'll make a threat against the prime minister, and then you could just black bag him and torture him in Syria for a few years. Yeah. Have fun with that. Like that's I'm certain it doesn't take much for CSIS to when the phone rings, they're like, "Yes, Master America."
Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah, we were all elbows up here for a second, and then the prime minister visited Trump, and he's like, "Oh, how thankful we are for your leadership, Mister Trump.
Oh,
How
I,
how blessed we are."
I'm picturing Trump and your prime minister, and Trump is now call him a fag, and the prime minister is immediately tweeting someone you're a fag. Yes, me lord.
Yeah,
Do you enjoy
absolutely,
when I'm your footstool? Yes.
absolutely,
But no, I
unbelievable.
gotta. All right. I gotta make a mental note to look for this fucking card. All right. But no. Type in. Hold on. Illuminati New World Order. Hold on. Second. There's wait. Natural disaster? No. Locust. No. Even the fucking Spear of Destiny. The spear. Hold on. Spear of Longius. Yep.
Longinus, I think it is. Yeah.
Yes, the Spear of Longinus is a fuck. Like, it's oh, the Shroud of Turin is a fucking item. Like there's so the oh, like there's a card. Like you know the 18.5 minute gap of the White House tapes from Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the 18.5 minute gap is an item in the game. Like there's so honestly, the game is sort of like everyone's first red pill, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
this is like your cousin in the garage introducing you to weed for the first time in a card game.
Yes, yes, but herein lies the best part though. Way too much of the card game can be like I don't want to say verified, but at the very least corroborated. Okay. Fun fact. There's a Bill and Hillary Clinton are cards in the game. So is Newt Gingrich. I wish I was joking. Um, and they, if memory serves me correctly, Bill Clinton is able to like whatever. I sound crazy enough, but there's a fucking card in this game that's literally, oh, at the bottom of the ocean, the U.S. government found this machine and it turns water into gold. Isn't that crazy?
I believe it. There's one that this is actually a real conspiracy. It was called the Clipper chip. This is a chip that they wanted to put inside every computer. I think it was I want to say 90s. But yeah, there's like actual. I remember seeing a newscast where the NSA, also one of the first times they were mentioned in media, um, where they were looking to put the Clipper chip, this chip in computers that would give all these agencies a backdoor into it, essentially.
Oh, which by the way, there was a declassified NSA catalog from the early or mid 2010s, and they made exactly that and then some. It's basically like a catalog of all the goodies the NSA had, and they did things you probably couldn't even conceive of until reading.
Well,
Like,
like printer paper, I know that for a fact that each printer has a unique signature, like a thumbprint that's printed on like not invisible ink, but it's somehow imparted on the paper, so that anybody that like writes up a ransom note or what have you,
oh yeah,
if
every
there's a forensic analyst, they will be able to tell exactly which printer, what model, what make, like where it came from.
yeah, part of it is because every printer made after a certain year, and also like if memory serves me correctly, like, I think one of the few ways around it is using a bubble jet printer because if you're using laser ink, that's part of what's in it. And I know that sounds cockamamie. I'm sure that sounds just as crazy as old timers claiming that soft packs of cigarettes and tobacco pipe smoke doesn't cause cancer, but regular hard pack cigarettes do. I know that's the tier of logic we're working with, but older printers don't suffer from this. And now like laser printer is the norm. We don't tend to have bubble ink printers went the way of the dinosaur because like you really can't do forensics with anything printed on those things like you can with laser. Like
Or
it's
just go to
it's
Kinko's.
yes, or just go to Kinko's.
Yeah, just go to
Uh,
your local library.
so dude, about the V chip. Okay, I'm not trying to pick on Canada when I say this, but look up the movie Warlock. It's a 1989 film. It inspired a murder, okay? And because of this, quote, the case brought the issue of violence in movies to the forefront in Charles's native Canada and is reported to have influenced the country's decision to enable parents to use the V chip to censor violence in cable television.
Oh
This
my
was in
god,
'95.
is that what that South Park is that what the South Park movie was based on?
I think so. I
No,
think
no,
so.
no, no. That was different. That was they wanted to put that chip in the kids' heads because they kept
Oh,
watching uh Clarence and whatever the fuck it, something and
uh,
Terrence. I forget their name.
Terrence and Phillip.
Terrence and Philip. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Kids kept
Oh, it's
imitating
been
them and
forever
swearing.
since I saw that
So
shit.
they put the chips in their neck and they would buzz like a shock collar like Hassan.
Oh, reminder, okay? It is very difficult to trust people who come from cultures that mistreat dogs. Like, when people on the internet, like, that's third world coded. You know what's honest to God third world coded? Eating with your hands and mistreating dogs. It's not rocket science, people. It's not rocket appliances. Um, but no, do me a favor. Can you make a note somewhere for me to find that fucking transmutation alchemical card in the
Yes,
Illuminati card game. Okay.
I'll put a
So
reminder for tomorrow.
just so I don't forget, I want to circle back to schizophrenia before I forget it real quickly. Um doesn't help that the stream went schizophrenic when I joined. Okay, so listen, this
Oh,
is a
we're
first
chilling.
draft.
We're chilling. This is the
This
first
is
stream back. We're chilling.
Thank you. This is a rough draft and it needs serious revisions, but the point of this chapter is the following. There. Remember when there was an uptick in self-diagnosis of women with like autism? Because like, and on top of that, there's some streamer on Twitch, and she's this like cute British chick with like fat tits, and she has Tourette's. And then when
Oh, I
she
know
got
her. Yeah,
popular,
yeah.
yeah, there was an uptick in women pretending to have Tourette's on TikTok, right?
Okay.
So I believe the final frontier of stolen valor is going to be young women and e-girls pretending to be schizophrenic. That's the final frontier. That's the last, other than deliberately crippling yourself so you could have like privilege points and be looked upon as special and needing more care. Like, yo, no one talks about this. I have a theory. I can't prove it. But in shitlib parts of my city or wherever transplants congregate and they bring their gay faggoty politics with them and their
Times
worldviews.
Square.
Yes, yes, places like that. You will sometimes see older libs or older millennial women and older, like, but they'll have like canes or one crutch because like the disabled is part of the oppression Olympic canon. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like the pyramid. Like, hey, I'm sorry, trans black woman, disabled Native American Muslim refugee has the floor, being disabled, she has, you know what I mean? It's higher on the hierarchy, right? So I'm convinced there are older white bitches that know they can't compete and must be proper footstools, but they're tired of being um, the white female version of Uncle Tom for her politics. So if she fakes being disabled or handicapped and walks around with a cane, she just that removes all not only all targets on her back, but now she's treated preferentially amongst her peers. Like, does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
so
get.
so if you ever
I get what
see,
you mean.
yeah, so if you ever see an older shitlib woman with a cane or a crutch, like you're not obligated to be nice to her. She'll if you sit next to her and she doesn't like you, she'll probably kick you with the foot that's supposed to be bad because they don't have secondary or third order thinking with this shit. All right. So the final frontier of stolen valor is going to be e-girls pretending to have schizophrenia. People say most schizophrenics live fairly normal lives, totally ignoring the unequivocal fact that most schizophrenics also die over a decade faster than the average person due to factors such as not nearly enough treatment and increased suicide rates. Schizophrenia is one of the worst illnesses to have. It shaves off about 15 years of a lifespan on average, and it basically takes a full team of people available 24/7 with around the clock treatment, giving comprehensive care to someone with it. In other words, this illness is historically difficult for any modern healthcare system to properly deal with, especially when it involves a grown adult that is more or less harmless to others that probably doesn't want to be under surveillance. The worst part about schizophrenia is that their reality is totally incongruent with anyone else's, even other schizophrenics. And so they feel as if they're just walking on clouds all the time because there's no common ground to communicate their experiences. If you think you'd find listening to a schizophrenic interesting, then you haven't really listened to one long enough. Very often they see connections in things that others don't, which is alienating. And so to them it feels like everyone else is living in a tiny world, which causes people to romanticize this illness, even though the reality is purely tragic. Let's just put a pin on this for 1 second. Schizophrenics don't think linear in a linear manner. Linear thought patterns are daunting, if not impossible, for them. Linear thought patterns only work insofar as getting smokes and panhandling and self-medicating and avoiding base level lizard brain threats to the self.
Mm-hmm.
But they do think in lateral ways. So when it clicks and makes sense, it almost sounds prophetic. Like that's
Like
why.
Nostradamus.
Yes, yes, because when it clicks, it almost becomes irrefutable proof. Because how the fuck would he know that,
Yeah, like why
right?
was there a book written about a guy that wants to go to Mars and his last name is Musk and Baron Trump is like the maker? Have you ever heard about that? That
Yes, yes.
conspiracy?
Oh
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, bro. One of my favorite versions of that kind of foreshadowing is that a little bit before a decade that the Titanic sank, a guy wrote a book about the unsinkable ship that sinks, and a lot of famous like a John Jacob Astor and a number of like very famous people who are against the establishment of the Federal Reserve died on the Titanic. Everything that could have went wrong on the Titanic. Like, yeah,
Do you think it's a
Titanic was
conspiracy?
yeah, Titanic was an inside job.
You think the
Um,
iceberg was in on it?
oh, that iceberg. Listen, I'm not saying it was Qatari
Berg,
money.
Berg,
Berg.
Berg,
Oh,
Berg.
you mean the Ice Shekel Moyle Burgerstein? Yes, yes. Hold on.
In the tunnels.
Let's. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I could salvage my reputation and find something on the Titanic. Because I
While you do
could.
that, I'm gonna grab a quick piss. I'll be right back.
Oh, go for it. All right. So let me see if the Titanic is in any of. Here we go. Oh, here we. Oh shit, son. All right. All right. We're gonna post that. And ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba, dun, dun, ba-da-ba-ba. It's the sound of forbidden knowledge commonly found by jerks like me. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, singing at a key. White pill peas. Dun-dun-dun,
There we
dun-dun,
go.
dun-dun-dun. Sorry, I'm just
No, you're good. You're good.
I am doing air guitar mouth sounds in celebration because I want you to look at Discord. See, looking for things like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would like for you to read that for the stream, my friend.
Yeah, 1898, a man named Morgan Robertson penned a book titled Wreck of the Titan about a luxury liner deemed unsinkable that was going too fast in the North Atlantic in April and hit an iceberg, killing most everyone on board due to the lack of lifeboats. 14 years later, this fictional book would play out in real life, exactly down to the name with the wreck of the Titanic, but this time it would have major political implications. Some of the wealthiest men in the world were on that ship, and some were opposed to the Federal Reserve and central banks. Fact, J.P. Morgan funded slash built the Titanic. Fact, J.P. Morgan was booked on the voyage but canceled at the last second. Strange. Friend of
Mhm.
J.P. Morgan, Milton Hershey, also
What's up?
canceled at the
What's up?
last
What's
moment.
up? What's up with these money men calling out sick and not going to work before something bad happens? That's
Yeah,
happened before. Yeah, what's up
that's
with that?
strange. That's strange.
Yeah.
Also canceled at the last moment, survived to build the Hershey food empire. Okay. There were no red flares on board the signal.
Which hold on,
Like
hold on.
that's
I
crazy.
First of all, imagine it's like, gentlemen, I will not be going on this journey. If you'll excuse me, I have to make sawdust puke corn syrup nipple looking things everyone will love. Goodbye.
Yeah, it's called the I'm actually I'm looking at the book right now. It's also called Futility, and the drawing on the cover. I mean, I guess like ship designs weren't really all that innovative back then, but I mean, it oddly looks like the Titanic, and all the art that I see, like the book, it looks just like the
Yeah. So
Titanic.
that book that you mentioned where it's like we're going to space and his name is Elon Musk. Like, bro, there's no such thing as a coincidence, okay? So this book, it again, this isn't hidden knowledge. This isn't like like the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. You know, this wasn't like the discovery of the Gospel of Mark in 1954 or whenever that happened. Like there was a Gospel of Mark they found in. Hold on, I want to make sure I get this correctly because I have a whole chapter on like the historical construction of the Bible. Here we go. Hold on.
Speaking of
Uh,
historical Bible, did you hear about the that giant concrete tablet that was somewhere? I think it was in the Midwest or something. That was it essentially laid out like the rules of civilization if there was some kind of like a cataclysmic event that happened.
oh
People could
yeah,
go to the tablet, and
the
there was a
Georgia
sundial.
Guidestones.
Yeah, the Georgia
Yeah,
Guidestones. Yeah, somebody fucking destroyed them.
right. That doesn't why
That's nuts.
why that doesn't.
That should be like a national monument. That should be like they should have like protection around the clock at that thing, or at least at the least a CCTV camera.
Yeah, and it's sad because like how The fact that we have footage of a blurry figure running away from it, and like the guy isn't wearing what looks like tier one operator full tactical. It's like some jerk off in civilian clothing.
Yeah,
That's the part that upsets me more than like, cause bro, if the Georgia Guidestones were blown up by dudes in suits, that's kind of badass. Like
yeah.
if it was blown up by guys with like face paint and bucket hats like Navy SEALs, and like a helicopter flew away, then it was like whoa. We needed men who, if they died on the job, their families wouldn't even be told. Like they
Mm,
needed those dudes to carry this out. No, some jerk off in a sweater and jeans. It's all right. So the Gospel of Mark was rediscovered in 1958 at the Mar Saba Monastery near Jerusalem. Much maligned since its translation, the work has been vilified not for any explicit doctrine, but for what might be implied and inferred from what little that is included in its remnant pages. To begin with, the fragments of this gospel and the letter in which it is contained point to teachings of Jesus being twofold. That is, that the public teachings, only vaguely described in the Bible, were accompanied by private teachings available only to select individuals through private initiation. So, imagine how long the New Testament has been around. And then in 1958, it was like, hey, we found stuff one of the apostles wrote. Oh, yeah, we can't
convenient.
include that. That kind of fucks everything up. Like that's they again, I know I repeat this over and over, but this isn't secret hidden history. This isn't occult knowledge. This can easily be verified in any search engine in a matter of seconds. Okay? So yeah, thank you for allowing me to run my mouth like a crazy person. Let's see. Bu- 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 Oh, by the way, to kind of circle back to that thing I had you read, check this out. There were no red flares on board to signal to any boats for rescue, only white flares that signal a party and that everything is okay. It was the first ship of its kind with the ability to seal decks electromagnetically, which could also seal people below deck.
Hmm.
Like the whole thing. Oh, the guy who wrote the book was poisoned to death a couple of years after the Titanic sank. The Federal Reserve was formed the very next year. Oh, yeah. Hey, 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 you want to hear something crazy? John Jacob Astor IV, the richest man in the world at the time, a friend of Nikola Tesla and an outspoken opponent of the creation of the Federal Reserve, Astor gained his wealth in part as a real estate builder, investor, and inventor. Other prominent Federal Reserve detractors, such as Benjamin Guggenheim and Isa Strauss, also died on board. Big think hours on this thing, huh? So again, this is so yeah. This is part of the reason I've been digging through my computer because these are things I want to put in my third book. And not to sound egomaniacal or anything, but stuff like this, again, it is not hidden, obscure, forbidden, secret knowledge, but this allows me to go first, in a way. Like I was the first
Yeah.
guy to commit this to print, you know? Um, and also, like, obviously I'm not the first by, telling people schizophrenia Bible. Right. I'm not, but I have to put it in the book. It's important. Let's see. I am trying to find the fucking cannot replicate academic research thing I saved. On
Well,
fuck.
even that that research, even if you don't end up finding it, I remember this was I think this was during it's either during or before COVID. Brett Weinstein went on the Joe Rogan podcast, and this really should have gotten wall to wall coverage, like many of the things that we're talking about here, but just kind of went under the radar. Um, Brett Weinstein essentially laid out how we're all familiar with how most medication, anything that's really going to be applied to humans, is tested on animals first, and mice being like the one of the more common test subjects. Cheap to make, can make millions of them, no problem.
Mhm.
The problem is that these mice have to be genetically engineered to a certain extent. And Brett Weinstein broke down that there's something in the genetic sequencing of their bodies that fundamentally alters. the research results when they're given certain drugs. So we're not even dealing with like, mice that they find in the wilderness. These are lab rats. They breed them to a certain extent. They know exactly what kind of genetic predispositions they have, but that this was done on purpose or seemingly on purpose. Because when Brett Weinstein like brought this up, he's like, "Hey, it's kind of weird that these mice have a predisposition to this, but they don't have a predisposition to that. Like why is that? Shouldn't we be starting with a as close to a blank slate as possible to make sure that we have the cleanest results possible?" And he was
Yes.
basically just told to fuck off by academia, which is crazy because like now that puts into question everything, like literally every study that
Well,
that's
yeah,
ever come
and
into existence.
in a way, it's really hard not to look at it as like, yeah, I'm sure you've seen that Stone Toss comic of like, oh, so how will this increase the sale of burgers? Burgers? It's like, so then
Yeah,
how do we determine the experiment from the control group? Control group? Like that's just it. No, it's and again, like this is a running theme. Just what happened with Henrietta Lacks just happens to be the worst implication of it all. But no, even down to studies with mice, it's like it's terrifying when you learn how pervasive this is. You know, um, I wouldn't be surprised if there was academic. Well, first of all, no one ever brings up how um, the finagling of what is healthy and what is not healthy is like, for example, uh, I don't know if it's this bad in Canada like it is here in the US, but lobbying science and a bunch of other shit is one of the reasons how and why corn ended up in everything here.
yep.
There's a chapter in my second book titled "America is Haunted by Mesoamerican Corn Demons." Um, First of all, I can't prove it, but the Soviet Union is revenge for what we did to the Indians. I don't know how revenge manifested in your country, but the Soviet Union and everything it incurred that is still in motion today, especially eating away at the West, that is revenge for what America did to the Indians. First of all, there's something uniquely inherent and fucked up and violent about my country because if you ever read stories about cryptids in Europe, it's like, hello, I'm the gnome. I'm here to give you gifts. Haha. And American cryptids in the woods possess you and eat your body and haunt your loved ones in their dreams until death and become their slaves in the afterlife. Like, even our woodland fairy spirits are things from Doom. So there's for what we did to the Native Americans, the end result is something cashed out, and it came in the form of the Soviet Union. I know that sounds crazy, but prove me wrong. Anyways, and part of the ordeal, corn. Like, we took like, look at what we did to maize. All right.
Corn should not be
So
subsidized. There's no reason why it should be subsidized. Like there's
no,
absolutely no
no,
reason why the government is subsidizing corn. Like it's cheap to
no,
grow.
no. Corn should not be fucking fed to cows. But in my country, they eat corn in their. Uh, okay. Uh. Can I send you something about corn
By
real
all means.
quickly? And because I know I'm buying time to find this fucking academic research thing, but it's very important. Look, the fucking NWO card, that can easily be verified. That's not it's and I'll get to the schizophrenia later, okay? But I need to fucking find this. And in the meantime, I would like to send you something. Look, just you shared it with the space. Hopefully, the thing about the Titanic. You don't have to read it, but I'm gonna send you something from my second book, Mesoamerican.
Yeah, I'm just looking
Here
up
we
Corn Hub.
uh, Corn Hub. Okay, so I would like for you to read something um, to the space. Okay, if you don't mind.
Yeah, by all means.
All right, hold on. There you go. There you go. I'm gonna send the second. It's not the second half. It's like the last paragraph or so. Well, the last two paragraphs. Okay. So there you go. Whenever you're ready, White Pill.
In the two last paragraphs there.
Oh no no no. Just well, hold on. Well, that's the whole chapter. It's just easier to open in fucking Word. It's only a page and a half, but it like um lobbying and you see because ladies and jerks, we're talking about scientists and research. Scientists and research had a big hand, multiple hands in getting corn in everything in my fucking country. It is impossible to avoid corn unless you avoid supermarkets. I'm not joking. Even the gel capsules that carry medication in them, you know what is made up of those gel capsules? Fucking corn. It's in
Yep.
shampoo for fuck's sake. Okay, so if you don't mind sharing with the space, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. America is cursed by Mesoamerican corn demons. It's pretty much in everything at any supermarket here in the United States. Corn is not inherently bad. There's a lot to be said about it. A hardy plant that grows with relative ease in a wide variety of climates. It can be served in a wide variety of ways. It can be mass produced affordably, and it can be used to make a number of useful derivative products. Did God, in his infinite wisdom, mean for every living thing on the planet to eat corn as part of every meal, every day, in mass quantities from children to senior citizens to cows? The biggest problem is it's not just gnawing on an ear of corn from the garden. Cornstarch, syrup, and cellulose are used in every medicine you could put in your mouth. And not just sugar. Almost every sugar free sweetener on the market today is made from a corn product. But just because it doesn't taste sugary doesn't mean you're in the clear. Corn syrup, starch, and or oil is added to french fries, peanut butter, saltines, steak sauce, table salt, margarine, iced tea, fruit juice, even the ones that claim to be 100% juice, raw honey, fish sticks, bread, more and more avenues to which to feed corn to an unsuspecting public. But amazingly enough, it gets worse. Not satisfied with being the largest single component of the average American's diet, the corn industry genetically modified its product, sometimes without government supervision, and it distributes the end results to consumers without labeling it. Move over, Montezuma's revenge. Genetically modified super corn has swept across the Americas and has already profoundly damaged Mexico's native wild strains of corn. Pretty soon, there won't be any unaltered corn left, even for comparison purposes. The human metabolism digestive system craves variety. Too much of the same thing is bad, especially when that thing, corn, is so indigestible that unprocessed kernels will pass untouched through your entire digestive system to emerge whole and unscathed in your doo doo feces. In this paradigm, people are only a little better off than cattle. Almost every chicken, pig, cow, in the USA is fed corn, even salmon. Alas, these animals can't properly digest a diet of all corn, not to mention the massive amounts of pesticides used to make it bug free. The most obvious health effect of corn glut is obesity. Granted, with a few exceptions, most people who are overweight have only themselves to blame. But we live in a world where the food industry spends millions of dollars marketing sugar, aka corn syrup, to preschoolers. Food manufacturers hire people with doctorates in child psychology to help them outsmart 4-year-olds and their parents. The worst culprits are what's expressly for kindergarten kids. The processed sugar game leads to its own complications, including hyperglycemia and hypoglycemia. The symptoms for each of these disorders, interestingly enough, can be alleviated by eating more sugar, much like the symptoms for heroin withdrawal can be treated by taking heroin.
For the record, Terence McKenna argued that the effects of sugar on the body and withdrawals match what can be considered the drug response dopamine reward system firing off frying of neurons and withdrawal. Terence McKenna
Absolutely.
argued that. I believe there's a lot of truth to that. But go on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. An unknown number of people additionally suffer from corn allergies. The reason the number is unknown is that it's difficult to remove all the corn from your diet to test the premise, especially if you eliminate corn fed meat and corn treated meat products. And if you somehow succeed in doing so, you will find that you have incidentally removed virtually everything else from your diet as well. So, what does the future hold? More corn, in all likelihood. The US government is putting out something on the order of fewer billions than usual, think Chinese lung herpes, in farm subsidies this year, the most concentrated portion of which goes for corn. The George W. Bush administration Health and Human Services Director Tommy Thompson, the fatty porky puke formerly in charge of keeping the nation healthy, told
I,
ABC
I
News
I'm sorry,
told
but
yeah,
like I deliberately made fun of, because remember last decade where like the health ministers were all 400-pound cheesecake elemental butter golems in like the
they
EU.
still are. They still
Yes,
are.
yes. So the Department of Agriculture looked like a guy who ate ribs 5 times a week. Like it was the weirdest thing. Like it's one thing when you're like John Candy fat jolly. It's another thing when you're like sickly fat, right? Like yeah. So this guy's a fucking fatty porky puke. Um, like like
uh,
like look, either commit to being fat or don't. And he's in that weird nebulous area where you're like, no, you stand at weird angles and dress in layers and to hide your titties and fat. That's him.
oh yeah. You see, he explained the subsidy programs are things that are done through Congress. He didn't complete the thought, but I'll do it for him. Don't worry about it. Amber waves of grain, my ass. It's not some vast, overreaching, menacing conspiracy. It's part of everyday life for most of us in this country. At this point, it's just in the backdrop of other things in our lives that are mostly out of our control. Among the things that come to mind when the words, we don't have to live like this, corn found in everything here. Corn found in everything here in the United States is the unspoken worst.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds familiar.
and
Yeah.
there you go. Real quickly. Um, I found this looking for this gem. I had no idea how borked Canada's economy was and how much of a monopoly stranglehold
Oh yeah.
certain business entities have. So screen caps like this were the first time I ever heard anything about it, and then asking Leafs about it. Each and every single fucking one was like, "Oh yeah, and it's worse than that," and then they elaborate on it. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
true.
I know the language the guy uses is like, it's he's of course something like beef baron, poultry pimp, and uh, qu- right. That
Milk
sounds
mafia.
silly, right?
The
Right,
cheese nostra.
but it's right. But here's the thing, like he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Fuck, like it's like there's a bit by Patton Oswalt where he talks about clean filth, where like oh no, I spilled all my goof juice on you, like instead of
Mhm.
I came on you, right? So like something like Milk Mafia sounds like clean filth, but a Leaf at his wits' end trying to convey the stranglehold he and his countrymen are in. And that's the result. I had no idea it was that bad, dude. And that was, what is it, 2017, 2018 is that screen cap?
2019, yeah.
Yeah. It has only gotten worse, I think it's safe to say, right?
Yeah, and it's been like this for a while. It actually so there's a I forget what it's called, but there's a name for the policy where um essentially farmers they they get subsidized by the government to because they have to follow the regulations like any industry, but if they overproduce in excess, like milk, beef, what have you, whatever product it is, they are legally forced to dump it. They have to dump it. Like we're sitting at record high food bank usage right now in Canada throughout our entire history, and people are like legit like starving because they can't fucking make their bill payments and rent and whatnot, and we're like dumping milk. And this was a scandal back in back during COVID. Let me see if I can find the video. But there was a farmer that was like, I don't care what fucking uh, what laws this breaks. I don't care if I get in trouble for this. But he made a video highlighting it where he literally has like a tap. He literally has a tap of milk that's flowing out. And he's like, "Look, this is the exact same product. This is the same quality of milk. There's nothing wrong with it. It's literally just going into the fucking ground because this helps them control the prices. This makes it so that Canadian farmers can charge, whatever fucking exuberant amounts. And it's the same quality of milk. You can see them drink it.
Oh,
right?
dude, I remember. It's not just with milk too, and I'm glad the anon that posted this mentions, it's beef and poultry and whatnot. But I remember seeing a special where there were these like French Canadians, and they were like, "Yeah, we've been harvesting maple syrup our whole life, and we just like we drive a nail into it and put a bucket under the nail,
Hmm,
and we just
hmm.
collect the sap that way." And now, evidently, that's against the law. Like that's even
I wouldn't be surprised.
like right. So even small farmers with maple trees on their property have to abide by this. Like for like it, it again, dude. Like most Americans, we don't know how bad it is up there with certain things. We don't. We just don't. We just don't. Um,
Yeah,
to your point,
they talked about it during the debate, and the leaders were asked if they would rethink the policy in any way, shape, or form, and all of the party line, every single one of them said, no, we're not going to rethink this. We're not going to rethink this. We're not going to rethink this. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, you guys are all fucking in on it. It's the same thing in the U.S.
very quickly,
You guys are all in on it.
I shared something in Discord. A chapter in my second book is basically it's Terry Fox is a Highlander witnessing the
Yeah,
decline and
I
fall of
remember.
Canada one day at a time. And
I
there's
remember you
one
mentioned it
section
too.
going, Terry hobbles past farmers in Ontario dumping out milk to inflate the prices, and they all look away like guilty children caught doing something very wrong for the first time in their lives. He stops to tie his sneakers. They run off screaming.
Yeah,
Like that, and you know what, dude? Like, part of the reason I part of the reason I included that is there's a line in the first book to the effect of life is too real for some people, so you have to fictionalize it so they can laugh or go, damn, that's a good point. So, like, for example, this is some look, I joke about a lot, but I never lie. In this chapter, if you'll allow me to read to the space, I believe Trudeau's brother was killed. He didn't die in a skiing accident. If you watch the news footage of his brother dying, like immediately after he died, and they were interviewing the Trudeaus,
I heard about
his
this. Yeah,
his brother looks high as shit, and not even like his face doesn't match his voice and emotions, and he clearly looks like not sober. There's the whole thing stinks. Okay, so here we go. Terry runs past Kokanee Glacier Provincial Park. Michael Trudeau, trapped on this plane of existence as the victim of ritual sacrifice and given no proper burial, takes ethereal form and pleads for light, to rest in peace, screaming, howling. Now is the hardest part of the looped journey. Michael's ghost floods Terry's mind with moving images beyond description, like a shifting oil painting kept in motion entirely by anguish and suffering. Things his mind and soul instinctively know are evil. No Wendigo, no Yeti, no Rougarou in the woods or side of the road, no Mugwump, no Skinwalker, not even the Cadbosaurus or psychic Memphir that swims alongside him when he hobbles past terrified him more than Michael Trudeau's ghostly pleas. The creatures from Turtle Lake, Trout Lake, or Thetis Lake, the Seal Key, the Manipogo, the Lutlands in Quebec, not even the fire-breathing Gassien Diethra hold a candle to the panic and terror Terry must keep at bay when Michael Trudeau's ghost finds him. There is no LOLJK. That poor young man died in a horrible, unspeakable way.
yeah.
But
I found the newsreel of his death. Like when they're
look at
talking about
this
it.
fucking. This motherfucker is higher than a kite. No, play.
The CBC's Terry Malevsky reports.
Et la deuxième question?
There was something familiar about the self-confidence of the man at the podium and about the smile of his mother, who hasn't smiled much since her youngest son was swept away by an avalanche.
Where did you
If
park?
Michelle had decided to stay home and
Hey,
play chess
my brother died, and I'm like, what's it, chilling? Hey, my wife is like,
he
I
would have
want
been fine.
dick. Yeah.
But he chose to go
Hey,
out there,
guys.
and that's what made the difference.
Now the
Mom looks at
Trudeaus
me
are
and
trying to
sees
put their
Fidel.
grief to good use. The
yeah, I'm sad.
Dude, she was smiling. Those.
Bro, Bro, like the only other time I've seen that is like right after Sandy Hook. The guy who, one of the alleged fathers of the victims, looked like he won a fucking check in the mail.
Family was
Oh
devastated
my
by the
God.
death of Michelle,
All
and they're
right,
hoping to
so there you
educate
have
a
it, ladies
snowbound.
and jerks. I still can't get enough of Justin Trudeau looking like, hey, I quit my smoke session to be here.
Yeah, it's weird.
Let me tell you about the time Mick Jagger fingered me in Club 54. According to the First Nations people of Canada, Margaret Trudeau is known as she who shall be buried in a Y-shaped coffin. The people in Yellowknife call her Eagle Spread. I don't know why. God, it's just a whole. Poor Terry Milowski, who is like, I know what happened, and I'm scared to death of say what really happened. Hey, so like I was smoking with John, and we were like, who wants to go to Waffle House? And I was like, I do. And then I lost my keys in the snow, and people helped us look for it. Shit was pretty chill, bruh.
Yeah, now he's married to Katy Perry, or at least they're a thing, which is so fucking embarrassing, dude. My fucking my ex fucking leader of my country is dating Katy Perry, bro.
Listen, I hate to say this. I don't know if it is the most evil or most cursed timeline, but it is the most entertaining timeline so far.
I mean, you know what? I gotta give him props. He's dating an astronaut, so maybe that's that's actually not the worst thing.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I look. There are women are irresistible to his charm, just like Papa Fidel. I like how I like how there's a law in place somewhere, like a psychic law, where we're not allowed to call people by their real name. Like for example, like it's one thing when this happens in show business, but like John Stewart Leibowitz goes by John Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mayor Bill De Blasio. Oh, this guy is what is Warren Wilhelm Jr.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. The voice of Telemundo. Okay, the guy who goes go right, like that's because of Don Francisco. Okay, the host of Sábado Gigante. Motherfucker's name is Mario Luis Krutzenberger Blumenfeld. Hold on. It gets better. Hold on. Carlos Mencia. All right. Ned Arnell Holness Mencia. Like, right. Like, we're not allowed to call people. Right. And, do me a favor. I don't know if you could use your AI tech slave to look it up. But there's a lot of photographic evidence that like someone who worked in the royal stables or some shit is Prince Harry's father, because he does not resemble Prince Charles. He looks exactly like the ginger who worked at Buckingham Palace at the time, and there are no gingers in the royal family, and he's the only ginger. But yeah, let's pretend Charles is Harry's father. Right, so, like we're not allowed to talk about that. Why are we not allowed to put a side-by-side picture of look at his fat ass. Why are we not allowed to put a side-by-side picture of Fidel Castro and Justin Trudeau? Yeah, like it's you tell me he's Prince Charles's son? No. It's just no. Make a note. Make a note. Remind me to look for the NWO card. Remind me to look for my Margaret Trudeau as a whore infograph, okay?
You would definitely need an infographic to map that out, that's for sure.
Yes! Don't take it from me! Margaret Trudeau is a filthy whore groiper.
You know that our current prime minister is essentially like your equivalent of the BlackRock CEO.
Oh,
Like
yeah, he's a money man.
Well, he's not just the money man; he's the money man. And when they were disclosing his conflicts of interest, they found like 200 something plus. So they recently, like a week ago, they carded one of the guys from Brookfield, which is the fund where he used to be the CEO of. They carded him out and they said, "Look, okay, so even though he's put his assets in a blind trust and all that, um, anything that is like a bonus financially, any benefit that Brookfield gets as a result of these policies, would that not be considered like a benefit to him once he gets out, once he gets those shares?" And the guy begrudgingly,
Mm.
he's like, "Yeah, not in so many words, but yeah, basically." And when you have that many conflicts of interest, like you can't even, I mean, anywhere he throws a fucking rock, it's gonna land on a conflict of interest anywhere that he spins. So it
Oh
it
yeah.
is it is bewildering to me that people thought that this guy was gonna fucking fix anything. How he just tricked the boomers into voting for him. It was nothing short of a fucking magic trick. Because here's a guy that like barely spent any time in Canada, comes out of fucking nowhere. Next thing you know, he lands the fucking prime minister's office. He didn't even have a riding where he was a member of parliament, and they had to give him one. They forced some guy to step aside, and they gave him a riding that was like a shoe-in that he was gonna win guaranteed. And then turns out the guy's son who stepped aside ended up working for one of the subsidiaries under that's owned by Brookfield. Wow, what a coincidence! What
Oh
a,
shit. That's
what a fucking
That's the,
coincidence!
if I could use a term for that is coined by my brothers and sisters up north, I believe the appropriate nomenclature is that it's very greasy.
Yeah,
Um,
that is very
it's
greasy.
it is because first of all, like when people think of BlackRock and Vanguard, all right, BlackRock, I would argue Blackstone Capital is playing SimCity with America. Like that's the only way I know how to describe it.
Yeah,
Okay.
buying all the homes. Yeah,
But then, like, kind of like how we were talking about, like, government agent, like the DIA, like, they're so insidious, you've never heard of them, right? It's almost like, look, there's a cliche in like spy and military movies where like, hello, my name is General Badass and and I'm from NSA. What? No such agency. Right, right. So like the most innocuous sounding pussy investor names are usually like like, hello, I'm best friends with Larry Fink. Also, I run Canada. I work for a company that I used to work for a company that's not as threatening as the Vanguard Group. Suckers. Like and I was wondering when this would happen because, like, look, this has been happening on a small scale. First of all, I'm glad you bring up this cocksucker duping the boomers, but here in New York City, Michael Bloomberg was like, hello, I'm a trillionaire. I'm the reason Bloomberg News is here. I'm going to be mayor. I can't tell you how many boomers, even 155 IQ boomers, were like, yeah, he's going to run the city like a business. He'll be good for the city. And he simply exacerbated and helped perpetuate the most egregious gentrification, among other things I've ever seen in my life. And then he left the city in worse shape than it was in. The current commissioner of the NYPD is literally a rich bitch nepo baby. She's the first commissioner that was never even a cop. Like
legendary.
Mayor Bloomberg was the first mayor in New York City's history that never held public office before that. His qualifications were, I have money. He had so much money he didn't even need to raise campaign funds. That's
Good
it's
enough.
cockamamie. Right, right. So I was wondering when this would happen on a larger scale, like the governor. Or like, there are variants of this, like governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura. Right. Okay. Well, he was a pro wrestler, not as insidious. Okay. Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was the governor of California.
Hmm.
Greasy, but not as insidious. I think the Enron scandal happened under his watch. Okay. That being said, this is prime minister. This is like, all right. This is gonna sound so gay and dumb. Like, when you play, if you ever played World of Warcraft and
Mhm.
you played PvP, right? You ever play World of Warcraft?
No, no, no. But I'm
Okay.
familiar with it.
All right. So in World of Warcraft, like when you play PvP, you're slotted in your level cap. So like, I left before the level cap was bumped up to 70. But like, even if you're in the levels 51 to 59 for PvP, it progressively gets more and more and more and more, right? Once you get to level 60 PvP, it's like you're playing in a different dimension. It's like you're playing with a complete different set of rules, a complete different skill cap, right? So, like, it's not a one-to-one analogy, but like that's the level of hello, I'm in charge now. Why? I have money. Like again, for like mayor, like it's feasible as a governor or a senator. Okay, this is a leader of a country. Like I still like I and White Pill, you'd think that this would be a point of discussion. No.
No, just a footnote.
It's terrifying, and much like Trudeau, I'd like to believe that I think Trudeau's last victory or the last two victories, he didn't even win by a majority votes.
No, and neither was this government a majority. And then also this government, there was an MP, I think two of them actually, that crossed the aisle. So even though they got elected on being conservatives, and that's what people voted them to, do their job and to look out for their constituents because they had conservative values, they crossed the aisle during the recent or just before the budget vote because the liberals were, I think, 4 seats away from having a majority. And if they have a majority, they could just shove everything through Parliament, and conservatives can't stop them. They could just kind of filibuster and try their best, but they can't really do anything to stop them. So we had two MPs that like straight up just turned their back on the people that voted them in for reasons unknown, and just said, "Fuck it, I'm just joining the complete opposite party from my belief system because reasons." Which like should absolutely, I don't know, not be illegal, but like you can't just fucking do that. Like what the fuck? How
Oh
is
yeah,
that allowed?
that's kind of uh that happens occasionally, but it's almost always never for a good reason. And where like what I forget, but like there was a who the fuck was it? The Lieberman? I don't know, but
Oh yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
like he was like he was like a like, all right, fuck you guys, I'm joining the other party, and he continued to be an even bigger stick in the mud than he was. Like but right, like like imagine basically going, I am an ideologue, talking head mercenary, and political parties mean nothing to me, and their constituents are like, hell yeah, brother. Whoa, he's a renegade. He's a maverick. Like that's the no, like that's so again greasy.
Very
Greasy.
greasy, very greasy. Uh,
Uh
on that note, it's almost midnight. I was gonna cut the stream in a bit if you had some things you wanted to close out on.
oh, let's see. I will okay, you know what? Do me a favor. Just do me a favor. Take the floor for like 3 minutes, cause I'm gonna lose my fucking mind if I can't find this screen cap. And I'm looking in a I'm not looking in my hard drive. I curtained all of this shit in a separate folder, so just don't worry. Take the floor for like 3 minutes. Go, go, go.
Yeah, sure thing. Um, before we end off the stream, want to remind everyone. Well, first of all, thank you for anyone that's made it this far. But now we've got a page where you can donate to help the White Pill Project. There's a link on the main page for the bio.link/White Pill. If you want to donate, don't feel obligated, but by all means, you can find that link there in the PayPal. Send whatever amounts. There's no minimum by all means. And if there's any text that you guys want read aloud in the donation, that's always going to happen at the end of the stream. Typically, I don't
Oh,
read chat or
not,
anything like that.
not to interrupt. I'm still looking, but I overheard from a mutual of mine. I want to make sure this is correct. Are Canadians not allowed to have Cash App or Venmo?
We have something different. It's called e-transfer, where it's like no fees and it's between banks. So there's no app or anything like that. You just send it like through your bank.
Mm.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no Cash App or Venmo.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't know if like how that would work with Canadian banks. I don't think it's a law, but people will just say like, "Oh, just e-transfer me," and they'll do it through their bank directly. So there's not like a separate app that you would use for that.
Okay. Okay. So my bad for interrupting, but um I I am curious. Do you accept crypto?
Uh, I am working on setting up a wallet. The issue is that with the Canadian government being the cuckery that it is, they want to snag every single fucking tax dollar from you. So, not that I'm saying that I am evading taxes by any means. No, of course not. I would never do that. I am a good Shappas goyim. I would never do that. Um, but
we
I
we are a pro tax paying IRS sponsored by TurboTax Stream. Yes, we certainly are.
That's right. That's right. No, I pay all my taxes, but I am working on having the stream accept crypto in a legal way that is compliant with all tax regulations in Canada. Hint, hint. Uh, yeah, I'm it's in progress. It's in progress.
Okay, okay, excellent. Do I wanna? Oh, okay, again, and I don't want to keep you tied to this fucking stream, but just so I could look, not to be like this is proof I'm looking. No, again, I would like to send you a Canadian themed, because again, until reading this, I didn't know it was like that. Can you please share that with the stream?
Oh yeah, this is absolutely true. Yeah, just a friendly reminder that Syrian refugees get the equivalent of $408,000 year per year thanks to Cukdo. They also get
And
free dental.
that's in 28. That's in 2018 dollars too.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
they also get free dental. Canadians do not get this, and platinum healthcare with everything covered. No fees and immediate access to a family doctor, where Canadians have to wait 5 years or so to find one. They also get free prescriptions, but I'll exclude it from the refugee Gibbs mathematical model. Uh, so yeah, housing 5,000 a month sounds about right. Refugee money 2,000 a month. Yep. The Canada Child Benefit. Yep. The dental platinum plan. Yes. The platinum healthcare. Yep, that's correct. So all of that comes together to about 408K. So I don't know the exact figures on this, but there have been leaks, and I'm not going to be able to find the screen caps now, but there absolutely have been leaks where people have stumbled upon these different documents where Canadian refugees do get an absurd amount of benefits, to the tune of, I mean, billions of dollars a year. And actually it got so bad that I think it was, I forget the dollar amount, but Olivia Chow, our lovely mayor, um, she pleaded with the federal government to give them more funding for refugees and illegals, because if they didn't fork over an extra couple hundred mil or bill or whatever the amount was, that we were going to have to start raising land taxes on people in Toronto, if not Ontario. So yeah, this is an absolutely true like thing that happens. They do get an exorbitant amount of money. Um, and the interesting thing about Syrian refugees, there was a statistic that I remember. It was like 1 in 5 or like 1 in 6 since coming to Canada 10 plus years ago or so are still not unable, but are still unemployed. So whether by
Wow.
choice or not, they are legitimately like just not even working. So
And
it's true.
it's kind of scary because uh fraud carried out by entire ethnic voting blocks is a dirty secret that is the hallmark of overwhelmingly like left or liberal politicians. Um, that being said, uh, Canadian politics are tricky because you would think conservatives would be pro-gun, anti-abortion, but in Canada they're not. They're almost just like liberal light. right? So,
Hmm.
but that being said, okay, like here in the United States, I'm sure you've seen a lot of grumblings about this. Um, the Somali refugees in Minnesota,
Yes, yeah.
like,
Talking about they were claiming autism or something, and they were getting benefits for it. I remember. Yeah.
yeah, and what's scary is if you are to take the total culmination of payouts to Somali immigrants, you probably could have made like, I don't know, 2 nuclear reactors by now. You probably could have made 1,000 hospitals, 10,000 schools. It's terrifying. So, all right. The bad news is I cannot find academic research screen caps, so I am going to jump off the roof of my building. You want to say anything before I go?
No, but here's a screen cap that I found of an official government document where it says the average cost per room across all sites where they sometimes they have them up in hotels or in like
Yeah.
different residential areas is 140 per night per room in January 2024. So that's 140. Like, let's even if it's like, I mean, how many rooms in a hotel or how many rooms in a unit, and then that's just one complex. That's not even considering the other complexes, and then that's also just in one town. That's not even considering the province. It's not even considering the nation. So yeah, absolutely. These people are getting exorbitant amounts. You know what? Let me. This is the best way to cap it off because I know this will open a can of worms and we could go into it all night. But there was a report. Um, I'm gonna do the due diligence and find it. Um, report by the Mounties that stated if Canadians knew just how bad they have it, they would revolt. There was a report that, in not so many words, basically said if Canadians were more acutely aware. Yeah, here it is. Secret RCMP report warns Canadians may revolt once they realize just how broke they are. Okay.
Wow. Okay,
Okay.
that's terrifying.
And there's levels to that because one, it implies that Canadians are not aware of just how broke they are. Two, this is a secret report. So this wasn't like, hey, by the way, the national media, the CBC that gets billions of dollars in subsidies or however much their fucking budget is, it's growing every single year. Um, their job is to report on shit like this. They weren't like, oh, here's an expose. We'll talk about it. We'll hold hearings and we'll hold their feet to the fire and for no, this just came out as like as a footnote, as just like a side story. If Canadians only knew just how bad the situation was, they would revolt. And in this report, it basically said that living conditions in the next 10 years could deteriorate to the point where Canadians are going to be forced to hunt for their food, like hunt and fish and go out and gather berries and shit because they can't get it in supermarkets. So, yeah, all this stuff about refugees, all that, like it is absolutely true. It is more true than people realize. And we elected some fucking banker shill to clean the whole crisis up, which I mean, I guess we get what we deserve, but like,
Which is nuts.
I didn't
Which is
sign up
which
for
is
this, man.
which, you know what? Just one last note, and then we have a moose. I've always found it fascinating that there's a weird cognitive trap with people that often affects management and those who end up in like positions of seniority, and where it is believed that, wow, look at White Pill, he's in the 3D printing factory, he's the best 3D printer we have, let's make him the boss. You don't know the first fucking thing about picking the right person for the job,
Hmm.
disputing conflict. I mean, I'm not making you out to be only good at one thing, but in
I
this
get what you
example,
mean. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. So there's a weird cognitive trap, and where like this guy made millions. Why shouldn't we put him in charge of a country?
Mm.
Like which that hurdle is not very difficult for a surprising amount of people, and again, it make I could see that happening in a city because it happened in mine. But then when it happens as the head of the police of New York City, that's a bit worrisome. And then when it happens as prime minister, oh, like what's next? Like, bro, I hate to include me in the screen cap. Your next prime minister is going to be an ex-World Bank or IMF member. Include me in the screen cap.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, I bet.
Well,
100%.
well,
I'd bet all my maple bucks on that. That's for sure.
well, listen. Send me those notes that I hassled you to make, and I gotta look for this academic research screen cap, or I'm gonna lose my fucking mind because I need it in the book. But anyways, dude, thanks for having me on. I hope the rest of your week is seamless, if not as BS free as it could get, my friend.
Yeah, likewise to you. Thank you for hopping on the inaugural stream. It's good to be back. I don't know how long this fun is gonna last. I haven't triggered any of the X landmines just yet, and I did pay for the $10 verification. So we'll see just how far I can stretch that. But yeah,
Oh, I,
here's hoping I'm here to stay for a while.
I will say it is kind of sad how like the blue check mark is just so you could use the site as intended.
Yep,
Because
I couldn't stream without it.
yeah, if you don't have a blue check mark, like your replies are naturally deboosted, your reach is
Yep.
neutered. Like, okay, there's the only way I know how to describe it. Like, you know, when there's a game and you could get it for free, or you get the full version, like you have to pay to use the full version of the site and app. Like
Yep.
that's
Yep.
aye. All right. Anyways, look, White Pill, buenas noches, ladies and jerks who stuck around and listened. Thank you. Have a good night. Sorry I made you all think I'm crazy, but I could back up almost everything I say. All right. And I gotta look for this academic paper. It's driving me nuts. You know what? You know what? One last note. White Pill, if and when you have a chance, just look at the cards of the NWO Illuminati card game. Someone did their due diligence and uploaded every one. You might be able to find it, and if you find it before I do, please send it my way.
Will do. And yeah, thanks
It's
for
no rush.
joining me.
It's no rush, but look at the cards of that game and try your hardest not to say wow. Buenas noches. I'll smell you later, man. Be safe.
All right, take care, guys. We'll see you later.